This is a story about a man reincarnated as a scummy noble in an incredible game with hundreds of scenarios, and this man changes the world through hard work, courage, and his muscles. It starts with Noah, the protagonist, practicing his magic in his backyard. His butler asked him if he was sure about this, and he said yes. He used his magic to boost his strength by channeling mana through his body, and while maintaining this magic, he used fire magic. However, it didn't seem to work. He sat on the floor and said he could use strength, but fire was still beyond his reach. He already knew that, but to think he couldn't even produce a single flame was absolutely ridiculous. The butler was worried about Noah's well-being, so he comforted him that he didn't even have a scratch. The butler commented that his moves were incredible. He would not stand a chance at replicating that. As he was telling his butler that he still had a long way to go, his sister was running to him at full speed. She then jumped at him. Shocked, Noah told her that it was dangerous to tackle him out of nowhere. Her sister's name was Kira, and all she wanted was her brother to play with her. He told Kira that he still had his studies and said he might play with her tomorrow. She didn't respond to him, so he asked what was wrong. She told Noah that he had changed. He used to hate both exercise and studying. Noah didn't really know what to say. Kira didn't insist on him any longer and reminded him that he had to play with her tomorrow. Even though she left, Noah kept thinking about what she said. Noah was just an average student who loved to play games. He would usually play games, sleep, and go to school. Every day he would wake up and repeat the same routine, or so it should have been. However, one day he woke up to find himself in a game world for some reason. Absolute Oblige was an academy-based game with a fantasy setting. In this game there was a nasty villain, and that villain was none other than his current form, Noah Francis. Lord Francis was an extremely rich person able to buy just about anything with money. He had a nasty tongue and a twisted personality. He would solve any problems with money. He was the worst scum of villain nobles, and no matter what route he took in the game, Noah Francis always got killed by the Demon Lord. Noah got crushed with gravity magic and ended up in a pitiful state. They even had official merchandise called a Noah die. That was indeed horrible treatment, but this Noah refused to stay a piece of scum and die in this world. There was no way he would let himself get crushed to death by gravity magic. He had no talent, so he had to train even harder. He trained himself every single day for hours just to become stronger. His goal was to fight alongside the hero and defeat the Demon Lord so that he could survive. At night he was waiting for Kiara to come to dinner. One of his attendants came asking what they should do about that slave. His name was Sebas. Noah knew all about this butler. According to his background, he was once a highly skilled assassin. The Francis family hired him for a huge sum and he had served them for many years. He remembers reading in the guidebook that whenever Noah ordered a slave dead, he didn't kill them, he hid them and let them escape instead. Sebas was talking about the slave that slighted him earlier and had been detained in prison. He asked if he should execute them. Panicked, Noah started sweating, and he told him not to kill them under any circumstances. Sebas seemed rather surprised. Noah asked him to release them from slavery and give them a job instead. Puzzled, he asked if he was sure. Noah didn't see any problem with that. He said he would have never imagined him saying something like that. He ordered the slave who spilled wine on his clothes to be executed 151 days ago, and the slave that blocked the hall 136 days ago as well. He kept talking about the slave he executed. Even Noah himself thought that he was the worst. He said that he had caused him and everyone at the mansion a lot of trouble and thanked them for putting up with him. Everyone was too stunned to speak. The evil Noah was thanking his workers. They panicked because they thought he was sick or something. They wanted to call a doctor immediately, but Noah told them that he was perfectly fine. Sebas was shocked by the idea of Noah trying to change. Seeing him trying to become a better person, Sebas decided to make sure with his own 2 eyes and joined him in his training with a bunch of other butlers. Noah felt like he had grown closer to Sebas recently. His expression when he looked at him felt like he was looking at his grandchild. After running, they started arm wrestling with the big guys. He had built more muscle since the last time, but it was still not enough. Noah once again realized that the people working at this mansion were all monsters. Before he knew it, he could see the status screen. Noah didn't have talent for magic or great stamina or anything, but he had grown this strong thanks to the people at the mansion. Sebas approached him and decided that it would be best for him to focus on training his biceps and back muscles. As he started doing some dumbbell rows without any complaints, Sebas realized that he really was sparing no effort. His build had also grown much more dazzling than it used to be, but it seemed Noah still didn't understand the true charm of muscles. He called for Noah and suggested talking with their muscles. By talking to his muscles, he could push himself to even greater heights both physically and mentally. Others joined him and asked him to join them. They put him in front of a mirror, and he started flexing his muscles to see how shredded he was. Noah realized that this feels really good. He seemed like a total gym rat now. Since his love for his muscles had been conveyed to them, Sebas suggested running. They all got ready and started running. They were all so fast, so this encouraged Noah to run as fast as he could and push himself to his limits. While running, Sebas noticed that Noah had mastered strength and things started to get more interesting. He accidentally fired up and went all out. He thought Noah wouldn't be able to keep up with this pace, but when he looked behind for a moment, he saw him right behind him. He didn't complain no matter how hard the training was. He always sports a smile while working hard to surpass himself. SSS felt an overwhelming talent for hard work and muscles from Noah as he was now. After training was over, Noah went to his room and lay down on his bed as he watched his status. He could keep up easily after obtaining his strength ability, and he even got some new skills. Level 2 appraisal and flash step detection and parallel thought. His stats went up as well. He was in a pretty good mood. Kiara came to his room and jumped on him again. She wanted to play with him and said she was tired of waiting. He apologized to her and mentioned that he still had a little more studying to do. Frustrated, Kiara asked what was more important to him, she or studying. Before he could answer her question, a butler entered the room and said he had thought up a new way to train. He wanted both of them to join them. They declined his offer and he left. Kiara asked if he had noticed his smile. Some kind of rift had once formed between them and the staff. All the maids, including the one she thought was her friend, were scared of him and they wouldn't even look her in the eyes anymore. She left the mansion and many others quit her, and she didn't want that to happen ever again. But everyone had turned so bright over the last few months. Many of them had come to respect him. Kiara hugged him and expressed how glad she was. Noah didn't expect her to notice that at all. Noah and Kiara's mother died early and their father was almost never home due to work. The only one Kiara trusted was Noah, but because of Noah's evil deeds she had many painful memories. Kiara's happiness depended on Noah Francis. He needed to be a proper older brother for her. Recalling a memory from his past life made him emotional, and he patted her head as he promised to protect her. As he reached for his shirt, he said it was the reason why he trained his body this much. Kiara panicked as he suddenly decided to strip. She asked if he knew what the servants were calling him recently. He expected something flattering like Noah the hunk, but they were actually calling him muscle idiot. Kiara then ran out of the room while calling him a stupid idiot. Noah wasn't affected by this insulting nickname though. He was not going to stop training his muscles because he had come to learn how much fun muscle training was, and it was to become stronger. He was not going to stay a muscle idiot, but became a super muscle idiot. As Kiara was walking to her room, she recalled how her brother said he would protect her. This made her giggle. Suddenly a hand reached for her and she couldn't move at all. A maid walked past her, but she couldn't call her to help her. She couldn't speak or move. The maid stopped and turned back, but she didn't see anyone. She felt like she had heard Kiara's voice just now, but assumed it was her imagination since no one was there. Meanwhile, Noah was training with dumbbells. He was exhausted, so he decided to take a break. He remembered reading on the internet that rest was important when training muscles. He started taking deep breaths and calmed down a lot. When he closed his eyes, he could see where everybody was. He assumed this was his detection skill. And while looking at everyone, he saw Kiara behind, holding onto someone's shoulder with her mouth covered. Panicked, he stood up and asked who had kidnapped her. SSS knocked on his door, informing him that Kiara had been kidnapped. Noah wore his shirt and said he felt it with detection. They needed to save her right away. SSS said all the guards at the mansion had been defeated. They were up against quite a skilled opponent. SSS asked him to stay at the mansion, but there was no way he was staying. SSS tried to tell him that it was dangerous, but he said he needed to go. Kiara was waiting for him. SSS was shocked, but he didn't insist on him any longer. He just asked him to accompany him. Noah thanked him. SSS was ready to take the lead if he fell behind and asked him to leave it to him if that happened. With that, they started running. They went to the forest near the house and the guards asked Noah to look above. Above the cliff, they saw Kiara with an unknown man. SSS said they would have to go around, but Noah was going to climb the cliff. He activated his strength and started running as fast as he could. It took him one strong jump to reach the top of the cliff. He stood in front of the kidnapper and told him to let Kiara go. Kiara's happiness was clear in her eyes. She was happy to see her brother. The man said he wanted to lure him to his friends but then decided to take him on alone. He then revealed his face and it seemed like he knew Noah. Noah asked who he was. Apparently the man used to work for the Francis family as a guard. He worked hard for years, but because he made a single mistake, Noah had him executed. He said he would never forgive him because of that. Noah was puzzled because he knew SSS should have let all the people he had ordered executed go, but he didn't think this guy would listen to him. His focus right now was only on Kiara. He used his appraisal skill to see how strong this man was. His stats were all a little higher than his. There seemed to be no way to win as he was now. He was strong. Seeing him stepping back, the guard asked if he was scared. He claimed that Noah couldn't do anything on his own and that he was just a piece of trash. He said they were calling him the one without talent, dignity, or culture, the pest of the Francis family. He could kill someone with only a word. He was just a naked emperor who nobody loved. He said that nobody was glad he existed, and pests should be crushed immediately for the sake of the world. He was a piece of trash. Hearing those awful words directed at her brother, Kiara had had enough of this man and she used his head to hit him. Her mouth cover was loosened so she could speak. She said that her brother had been saddled with the responsibility of being the heir ever since he was small. The nobles and adults around him always mocked him for being a kid and an upstart, but he kept trying his best. The guard didn't want to hear the excuses and he hit her, but Kiara didn't stop talking. She said her brother had been acting like scum and he had been twisted. He was to blame for all of that. But still, he was her beloved big brother. Noah was shocked to see those beautiful words from his sister. Noah apologized for executing his friends and said he cannot ever forgive himself for that. He even punched his own face to see how much he regretted this decision. The man didn't expect him to do such a thing. He asked if he had gone mad. Noah told him that he understood why he hated him and he didn't even mind if he killed him. But he wouldn't forgive him if he made Kiara cry any more than he already had. As he walked towards him calmly, he asked him to let her go. The man was shocked and grabbed Kiara again, saying it was no use acting high and mighty now. He was planning to kill her and make him feel the same pain he did. Then he was going to kill him. Noah had no choice now. As he prepared himself, he told Kiara that it might be scary, but she must hang in there just a little while longer. But what he started doing was not scary at all. It was a simple warm-up to use his muscles. He was literally doing push-ups and flexes to warm up. Both of them were shocked. The man thought he was mocking him, so he reached to him to crush Noah. Noah dodged his attack at the last second and the attack hit the tree. He was shocked because he didn't even touch it and it was crushed to pieces. To get his revenge on him, he did nothing but train this skill day in and day out. The man's hands transformed into giant hands and said he was going to crush his body next. Noah started escaping from the attacks as he enjoyed his panic. He saved himself with a jump after a powerful punch. The man then asked what happened to all his confidence. He asked him to show him his muscle power. Noah accepted that he was strong, but Noah had worked harder than anyone to one day be the man who would defeat the Demon Lord. There was no way he could die in a prologue like this because he was going to become even stronger. He used his strength as the man reached for him to crush his body. Using the flash step, he disappeared within seconds. The man was shocked because Noah shouldn't have any kind of talent, so there was no way he could move that fast. Before he could finish his sentence, Noah appeared behind him with a wooden stick. He told him that he was no longer the person he used to be. He was a man who rebelled against his weak self and surpassed his limits. He was the heir of the Francis family, Noah Francis. He knocked the man and tied him up. The man woke up and told him to kill him and let him join his friend in the next life. Noah wasn't sure about what to do now. Sabus arrived and he was pretty enraged seeing this man putting Kiara in danger. He believed this called for an appropriate amount of torture. No, even better. He wanted to execute him. The man's soul escaped his body after seeing his face. Noah told Sebus that Kiara was unscathed, so there was no need to go that far. In a way, this guy was one of his victims too in a way. He told Sebus that he let all the people he ordered executed go free. Sebus was amazed that he knew about that. Noah then turned to the man and said his friend was alive and well. He was shocked and asked if that was really true. Sebus guaranteed it. He started crying his eyes out because he was so glad that his friend was alive. The other servants arrived too. Kiara asked what they should tell them. Noah said the three of them just sneaked out to look at the stars. Sebas finally accepted that he really has changed. It had always been odd since he was born, so he had just been changing all along. Now he was just a muscle-loving noble. He grabbed Kiara and said they should go home. Kiara asked him to put her down because she was not a kid anymore, but she was still Noah's little baby sister, so he started carrying her home. Meanwhile, a person named Cecil was informed that she would be engaged to Noah. Cecil closed her book and started wondering what kind of person he would be. In the next scene, it had been a few months since he first came to this world. He had a crown close to the people of the mansion now, and he had gotten pretty used to being in Noah's body too. But most importantly, he had come to know how wonderful muscles were. The servants he was training started flexing their muscles with him, and the butler was shocked. Stuttering, he said he had brought a letter from the master of the house. The other went cleaning as he opened the letter. The letter informed him that his fiancée had been chosen. It was Cecil Edward. He knew about Cecil. She was the fiancée of Noah Francis, a love interest of the game, who was a woman gifted with both beauty and intelligence. Even Noah was charmed by her beauty. In about 2 years, Noah would start attending the Absolute Academy and meet Cecil for the first time. However, Cecil falls in love with the hero at the academy. She also despises Noah's villainous deeds and decides to break off their engagement. Noah, consumed by rage, tries to take revenge, but the bond between Cecil and the hero was too strong to break. Cecil once told Noah that he was just as bad as the rumors made him out to be, and that she would prefer if she never had to lay eyes on him again. Even recalling that line now devastated him. If she told him that in real life he would never be able to get back up again. Sebas saw him on the floor and asked what was wrong. He said he was thinking about the future, but it was so hard. He was going to meet Cecil at the academy and hoped he would not see her before then. To avoid the future where he was killed, he had no choice but to defeat the Demon Lord. He wouldn't be able to get strong enough with just normal training, he needed to push himself even harder. So he started special muscle training. Noah's sword instructor Lion came, suggesting that he rest until his lesson with him. Lion was an A-rank adventurer who guided him in swordsmanship. He told Lion that he made sure to do the 100 practice swings he assigned him as homework. Looking at the heavy sword on the ground, he asked if he used that thing. He said he did, thinking the sword didn't have enough weight to it. As the heir, he needed to be able to do at least that much, so Lion wasn't surprised. He was a strict teacher, and this was exactly what he wanted. He needed to get much stronger than he was now. Noah then asked him if it was okay to continue his warm-up exercise. He said of course, and Sebas joined him. They started with 20 laps of bunny jumps with weights on their backs. Leon couldn't help but notice that he had no effect. He was not satisfied with merely doing what's expected. He was always thinking and working hard to push himself to even greater heights. Even though he didn't show that, he was thinking that Noah was the best. He was a good kid with clear eyes and a pure heart. He couldn't wish for a better student. Usually most nobles would slack off on their training when no one was watching, right? Not Noah though. He went and added even more weight. He was his crazy cute student for sure. Noah had surpassed Lion's expectations, so he wanted to stand by and watch over him forever. He then asked the person lying on the ground how long she was planning to keep lying there. She said it wasn't because she wanted to. She couldn't move because she was all out of mana. She was Freysia, Noah's magic teacher. She was questioning what in the world was wrong with Noah. He asked her to fire powerful magic at him, hoping it would help him grow even faster. Even though she was shocked, she fired magic at him for the whole lesson, and then he started swinging that weird sword, and when he was done with that he started the bunny hopping. He was so creepy. Leon assumed she had come to understand how wonderful Noah was too. Seeing her awake, Noah asked Freysia if she would join his muscle training. It would build muscle and improve his stamina, he said. Sebas and the others didn't expect him to do another training, but they still decided to join. Freysia was shocked that he was still training. They asked her to join them, but she immediately refused. She had had enough of this and said she quit. Leon grabbed her hand and reminded her that she was the greatest mage in the whole territory. He was sure she was tired, but they would be hopeless without her being here. Freysia blushed, and she was not expecting him to say stuff like that. She noticed a giant potion there. It was 30 bottles of mana potion. Leon grabbed it and reminded her that she was a pillar supporting Noah's growth. He asked her to drink every drop and make a quick recovery. Freysia started trembling and sweating. She said it was a bit too much for a single person, but he still made her drink it. While she was drinking that potion, Leon and Noah started with the sword practice. They were having a sparring match today. They both got ready and the match began. Noah's swordsmanship was nice, but his timing was too simple, so he was easy to counter. Leon swung his sword and Noah made a nice jump back to save himself. Leon used to look down on the Francis family. He reconsidered his choice of teaching the eldest son of the nasty Francis family before even starting it. Sebas welcomed him when he first arrived at this house. He heard from the locals that Noah Francis was less than trash and had the worst personality imaginable, and that he executed countless slaves. He could always run away if he ordered his execution as well, so he wasn't worried about that part. He could work as an adventurer anywhere in the world after all. However, when they first met, Noah didn't seem like a terrible person. He said he wouldn't complain no matter what he had him do and asked him not to hold back in his training. Leon had never seen a noble lower their head before and questioned if this was the Noah Francis he had heard of. As promised, Noah did every single thing he told him to. Recalling what people say about him, he realized that the real Noah was an incredibly hard worker and a wonderful person. He wanted everyone to know that and accept him, and so he decided to stay by his side. Noah was out of breath during this training. He was getting stronger thanks to his daily training, so he wanted to lay a hit on Leon today. No tricks. He was going to strike Leon with all his might. He used his strength and parallel thought at the same time, surprising his teacher. On top of that, he made a flash step that froze Leon. When Leon saw his speed, he already knew he couldn't dodge that. So the moment he hit him, he used a shadow figure and disappeared. Noah was shocked. His sword landed on the floor and he was thrown against the wall. When he opened his eyes, Lion was pointing his sword at him. Lion wins today as well. Noah accepted his loss. Lion told him that strength required immense concentration and usually people couldn't activate other skills at the same time. That's why he used parallel thought, allowing him to also use flash step. Noah didn't notice how impressive this was and just focused on the fact that he moved even faster than him and he only saw him disappear. Leon reminded him that he was still an A-rank adventurer, and his nickname was Leon the Shadow, and that shadow figure skill was bloodline magic. That felt so unfair to Noah, but it can't be helped. Leon comforted him, saying how he learned strength in only a short time and he even managed to maintain parallel thought alongside it, which was pretty praiseworthy. Noah's face was so cute to him, but as his teacher he did not show him how cute he was. He just warned him to be sure not to push himself and get hurt. He knew Noah was so meek, but being meek also gave birth to weakness. He wished he could make him a little more confident. He suggested taking a trip for the lesson tomorrow. He asked if he would like to try to go to the guild. It didn't look like he would be getting a magic lesson tomorrow after all, since Freysia was throwing up from all that healing potion. Noah decided to go to the guild with him tomorrow. At night he was thinking about the next day's trip. He went there a lot in the game, but it was going to be his first time in real life. He was so excited. However, he kept thinking about stuff and couldn't sleep at all until morning. This hadn't happened since the school trip in elementary school. Sebas came to wake him up but saw him awake, so he asked if he was okay. He said he was fine and got ready. With that, they departed with Lion. Noah kept yawning because he was tired, and in the game he would arrive at the guild in an instant. In the next scene, they finally arrived at the town. Their first stop was the armor shop. Leon suggested a suitable sword for him, considering his build. He seemed to like the katana he suggested. Leon reminded him that katanas were difficult to handle. Noah said it really sits well with him, and after all, he was Japanese. Of course, Leon didn't know what he was talking about. They head to the guild, and on the way Noah kept looking at the stalls as he was interested. Inside the guild there was a little boy asking adventurers to help their village. Wild wolves were coming to attack the village, and all the adults had their hands full preparing to defend. Looking at the paper he was holding, an adventurer wondered if that kid really wrote this himself. He didn't think he was lying, but he couldn't say that for sure. He asked if he could send a petition to the Francis family, the lord of this territory. He said he sent a letter, but he never got a reply. And the adults didn't trust the Francis family anyway. The adventurers did hear that the heir, Noah, did whatever he pleased. They said he was neither smart nor refined, nor popular nor reliable. This city was done for when he became lord. Noah and Lion had to put a scarf on their head to not get recognized and were hiding behind the wall. Lion asked why they were hiding. He said he heard them talking about him. He had been relieved after coming to town that his reputation was even worse than he thought. Noah's misdeeds had completely trashed his reputation in the territory. He could totally see the people revolting. If people were to rebel, this playthrough could totally end in a bad ending. He really needs to hurry up and restore his honor. The adventurer told the kid to try someone else. A big guy hit the little kid and made him drop all his money. The man said he was in his way as if he wasn't the one who made him fall. The kid apologized and tried to collect his money from the ground in panic. But this made the man more furious, and he tried to kick the boy. But Noah took the kick and revealed his face. He asked the kid if he was okay. The kid said he was and thanked him. Leon appeared behind the man and it seemed like he knew him. He said he was the same as always, so quick to use his legs. Hashbart was shocked to see Leon here and asked why he was here. The kid asked Noah if he was all ready. Noah took out his robe and said he was wearing the armor known as muscles. He started talking with his biceps and even called his muscles brother. Leon put his clothes on him, saying he would catch a cold like that. Hearing that name, Hashbart immediately figured out that he was the son of Lord Francis. His words were heard by everyone at the guild, and they were shocked. Hashbart approached him and asked what the hell a piece of trash noble like him was doing in their town. Noah was shocked by his boldness. They really hated him enough not to care about the fact that he was the son of the Lord. Leon was upset that they perceived Noah like that. Noah responded that he was here for an excursion as part of his lessons. This made him laugh because he was a piece of trash noble who had killed dozens of slaves. He reminded Noah that he had abandoned every study and training right away and had no guts or talent. There was no way a guy like him would be able to complete a guild request. The other adventurers were worried that he was trash-talking a noble. If he got pissed off, the rest of them here might be judged as accomplices. Hashbart told Noah to say something, but Noah just stared at him and didn't say anything. Puzzled, he kept asking why he was looking at him like that and what he was thinking. Noah was examining his trapezius, rectus abdominis, and quadriceps instead of standing up for himself. He was so upset that this man didn't show his muscles and love. That was a huge mess. That means his muscles were better than his, so he started smiling, which confused the man even more. Noah asked Leon to go to the reception. The man thought he was just running away. He claimed that Lion would be the one to do the request anyway. Now he pissed Lion off. He asked if he was saying Noah would be useless on his own. He told Hashbart that Noah could complete any request here, even without his help. The kid in there ran and tried to grab his paper, but someone stepped on it. It was of course Hashbart. Lion told him to move his feet. He was about to attack him if he didn't move his foot. But before him, Noah grabbed the man's foot and told him to get his foot off the kid's stuff. Hashbart acted like he didn't notice the paper and said he didn't feel like moving right now. Noah told him that this paper must be an important request for that kid. Hashbart asked him to try to move him by force. He wondered if Noah could really do that. Moving his body with that delicate little body of his seemed like a tall order after all. However, Noah grabbed his foot and threw him to the ground like a baby. Everyone was shocked, but not Noah. He said he was lighter than he looked. He gave the kid his paper back. Hashbart claimed that he just slipped and said nobody would accept such a filthy request anyway. If he wanted anyone to accept it, he had to offer 10 times the reward. The kid said this was all the money he had. Noah looked at the paper and said he could accept it. Everyone was shocked. He said it wasn't far from here, and he didn't care about the reward. Lion asked if he was sure about this, and he said yes. He could have just picked some low-ranking request for the experience, but he was worried about his people suffering. He was so kind, and Lion knew he was different from normal nobles. He cheered for him in his head. Noah said they should head right away. Hashbart asked if he was Noah Francis and questioned why he was worried about a mere villager. This was nothing like him. Noah told him that he was going to be taking care of this territory on behalf of his father instead, so of course he would resolve his problems in his territory. They left the guild in shock and arrived in the kids' town. The wild wolves live in the forest, northwest of the village. They move around in small packs, so they needed to be careful. They had encountered nothing but small monsters, but they should have been in the territory of the wild wolves for a while now. Noah was using detection, but he still hadn't sensed any wild wolves. He decided to go a little further west. Hashbart and his companion were guiding Noah from behind. Hashbart said he was an idiot and that the whole family should die. They were going to say there was an accident while fighting monsters, and nobody would find that suspicious, so they were planning to kill him. What they didn't know was that Noah could hear much better when he used detection. It allowed him to listen to everything those two were talking about just now. He just decided to wait and see what happens until they come at him. Hashbart killed his fourth little animals, and Noah wondered why he was killing them. Hashbart claimed that wild wolves might be scared of how strong he was, and that's why they weren't showing. Leon stated that it was strange to have come this far and not seen one single one. They might have already left the forest for some reason, and that would be a relief. Noah said no because they had been surrounded by them. Hashbart was shocked by how huge this pack was. He had never seen such a massive pack before. He couldn't even count how many there were. And there was also a mutated variant among them. Leon figured that it survived for a long time and grown stronger through mutation. Hashbart was trembling in fear after seeing the big one. A mutated wild wolf was classified as an A rank, so he was going to handle it, but Noah stepped up, shocking everyone. Leon was about to oppose this idea, but Noah didn't let him talk and said he would be counting on him for backline support. He was aware of the fact that this wasn't a game and that he could actually die, but as a member of the Lord's family he was going to fight for the people. Even the wolf's roaring was deafening. As they all jumped on them, Hashbart pushed the person he came with, saying it was his turn, and started running away, using him as the bait. The man screamed in fear because it was too late for him to run away. But Noah appeared right before the wolves got him and slashed them all. Now it was the big wolf, Hashbart, and Noah. Hashbart told Leon not to stand there and fight, but he said there was no need for that. Back at the armor shop, Leon couldn't help but notice that Noah was pretty skilled with a katana and asked if he had been doing some secret training. Noah said it was his first time holding one. He actually got a new skill. Noah was calm, and he even closed his eyes before taking off his sword. Hashbart thought he had given up seeing, his eyes closed, but it was the opposite. He waited until the wolf was close enough. This should be a dangerous fight, yet he felt completely calm. He wondered if it was thanks to his katana. He almost felt like he had fought together with this sword for many years. His new power was activated seconds before the wolf hit him. Noah's new skill was swordsmanship, enhancing his sword skills and making him a much more powerful opponent. He slashed the wolf's head with one clean attack. Hashbart was shocked and couldn't believe what he had just witnessed. Leon told Hashbart to commit this to memory because that was Noah. At night they went to the kids' house and the family offered them a delicious meal. They didn't have much to offer as thanks, but they wanted him to eat as much as they liked. Wild wolf meat was surprisingly quite delicious. Noah was excited to eat it. The kid thanked Noah for defeating them and stated that he was a very good person. And that was all he wanted to hear. Actually, he even asked him to repeat that sentence a few more times. While eating the meat, he was so happy because his muscles were rejoicing. Eating this kind of food with his bare hand was the best. Sebas never stopped nagging him about his manners at the mansion, so he was very happy. He had no idea that Sebas had arrived there to get him and saw the way he was eating. Panicked, Noah dropped the meat and asked why he was here. He said he came to check on him since he was worried about his excursion. It seemed he needed to go even further to drill proper manners into him, so he told him to prepare himself. After seeing how he ate that meat with, Sebas told him that eating meat with his bare hands was an act unbecoming of a noble, so he had found a suitable place for him to go. And Noah found himself in the Noble Education Facility. This facility existed to teach nobles proper manners and etiquette before attending the academy. The teacher there hoped they would use this opportunity to better themselves. Noah was sweating so much because Cecil Edward was also there. The first practice was dancing, so the teacher told them to pair up with the opposite gender. Everyone started pairing up easily while Noah panicked. But he looked around and saw no one available. He was going to end up all alone like this. Someone approached him and asked if he would like to pair up with her. He was happy until he saw the person who asked him. It was Cecil. While they were trying to dance, Cecil figured he hadn't danced much before. Noah confirmed her. He had no idea how to dance. It would be bad if Cecil and he got on good terms here. In the game, Cecil and the hero end up together. If I went and messed that up by getting along with her, that route could be crushed. He might end up robbing her of her happily ever after. In the game, she dumps Noah shortly after entering the academy. He guessed it would be better to make her hate him here. He decided to just grope her butt, thinking it would be an instant ticket to get hated. When game Noah did that, he got slapped across the face. But even though he wanted to, there was no way he could do something like that. He said he couldn't do this. Cecil thought he was talking about dancing, so she encouraged him, saying his spin was marvelous. Suddenly, Noah asked her if she was alright with their marriage. She seemed confused, so he said it was something her parents decided and he thought she should be with someone she loved. That was a strange thing to say because Cecil had never had the right to choose his own partner ever since she was born. Noah knew that. Cecil was raised without any love, because she was the child of a mistress, not the wife. The Edward family had no children, so they reluctantly legitimized the child of a mistress. If they truly loved her, they would never have had her engaged to scum like Noah Francis. While they were dancing, Noah convinced himself that Cecil could still find happiness after being with the hero. Noah suddenly told her that she should decide for herself. Cecil seemed quite shocked, so he thought he had said something strange, but she just said he was nothing as she had imagined. Noah started sweating because he knew what people were saying about him. Suddenly, a fat noble pushed a girl to the floor, saying she stepped on his foot again. She apologized and explained that she didn't have much practice dancing. The man yelled at her, saying it was exactly why she didn't want to get engaged to someone like her. The teacher asked him to keep it down because people were watching, but the fat guy didn't care about it. He told the woman that without his engagement to him, his low-rank family would fall into ruin and that she had no choice but to obey him. Poor woman had to sit there and listen to his insults as he told her that she would have to obey his every word for the rest of his life. Noah said he was going too far. Cecil responded that there was nothing they could do because it was her fate. As the woman looked at her fiancé with teary eyes, the man kept yelling at her. Noah didn't like how Cecil said it was her fate, because he believed that people like that could go and die alone. As he was watching them, the fatty raised his hand at the woman. However, he couldn't lay his hand on her because Noah saved her using a flash step. Everyone was shocked because they didn't even see him moving. He asked the woman if she was okay, and there was no need for her to answer, as he noticed the bruises on her body. That piece of trash was hitting this girl regularly. The fat guy told Noah not to get in his way, and he didn't care that he was the Lord of the Sun. Noah stood up and told him that people who hurt others received no merch from him, no matter who they were. The fatty seemed scared now, and he even collapsed after seeing the expression on Noah's face. Noah then kneeled and told the woman that she should speak up when someone was treating her like this. He knew it was hard, but if she ever needed help, he could count on him. Cecil was shocked by this scene. Noah was definitely different from the nobles she had known. He was a whole mystery in her eyes. She recalled how he said she should decide by herself. Her interest in him was boiling over. Noah was about to offer a solution to the girl since she had a troublesome partner, but Cecil appeared from behind. He thought he was going to get scolded, but Cecil just wanted to know if he didn't like practicing with her. He panicked and said it wasn't about that. He said he was just bad at dancing and thought he was just bothering her. He asked if she was really fine with a man who had no talent in dancing. She held his hand and told him that he was great. Noah blushed like a little boy. She wanted to get back to it and showed him how to do it. While they were dancing, the woman Noah saved annulled her engagement with that fat trash. Now the fatty was begging her to wait. This reminded him of the scene where Cecil dumped Noah in the future. He almost felt bad for the guy. He didn't, of course. In the next scene, some people were talking about Noah as they watched him from a crystal. One of them introduced the other, saying he was Noah Francis, the infamous heir of the Francis family. He was infamous, but his reputation had improved lately. He even defeated a wild wolf. They were surprised that this little kid did that. Ever since the incident, the whole territory's mood has improved. The request was to incite a riot in the kingdom, starting from Francis's territory. They planned to use the Francis family's bad reputation to stoke the people's dissatisfaction, but now killing him seemed like the quicker solution. Or at least that was how he, Albus, the mage of the scales, would do it. The person he was talking with was a cat monster named Mia. Mia told Albus to go ahead and kill the hero instead. That was another request they received. Mia wasn't sure about splitting up though, but Albus told him not to worry about Noah's strength. After all were equal before him. Mia felt sorry for that Noah guy because his death was already set in stone. By running into each other at the Noble Education Facility, Noah and Cecil had gone down a route that was not an option in the game. One day, Cecil visited the Francis mansion. She apologized for visiting without prior notice. Sebas, who welcomed her inside the mansion, reassured her that Noah would be pleased to see her. Noah was currently at the training grounds where he was showing her the way. When she arrived at the training grounds, she called for Noah, saying she had come to visit him, but then she was too stunned to speak. Noah was trying to build a muscle human pyramid with a naked upper body. He was holding a giant servant as the servant was also holding weights on his shoulder. When Noah saw Cecil and Sebas staring at them, he panicked and fell down because he tried to cover his nipples. He asked why she was here. Cecil responded that she sent letters, but she never got a reply. He said he had been really busy and apologized. Cecil wanted to drop the formalities between the two of them and called him by his name. Noah was okay with that. Cecil started blushing and said it was hard for her to say what she was about to say. Curious, Noah asked what it was. She asked pretty excitedly to feel his pecs. Noah screamed from shock and his face was so red. That would mean exposing his nipples in front of a girl, and this was a huge step for him. He wondered if she was going to use this as an excuse to pinch. The other servants were jealous of Noah, and some said they wanted her to feel theirs too. Sebas reminded those grown men that it would be sexual harassment. Cecil approached Noah even more and asked if it wasn't okay for her to do that. Seeing her beautiful face up close, Noah gave up and told her to go ahead. She thanked him and started touching his body. She was shocked by how hard it was, and it twitched every time she touched it. Noah asked her to choose her words a little more carefully because they could be misinterpreted for sure. Noah didn't know that Cecil had this kind of personality. She was completely different from what he imagined. His nervousness made Cecil chuckle a lot, and she said he was an interesting person. Noah thought she was teasing him, and he was right. Meanwhile, behind the trees, Kiara was having a meltdown because there was a woman ogling her big brother. Cecil noticed her staring at them and asked if she was Kiara. She said she was pleased to meet her and complimented her on how cute she was. She said she would be her little sister too in the future and that she was looking forward to it. Kiara acted like she was cool with her and as if she wasn't having a meltdown a few seconds ago. But even muscle idiot Noah noticed the overwhelming pressure coming from them. He said he would go back to his training and ask them to enjoy themselves. Cecil said she wrote him letters and invitations, but he never replied. And now, when she thought they could finally hang out, he just goes off to train. She didn't know anything about Noah and just wondered if he liked her. Kiara wasn't surprised because even Cebus was scared after receiving that mountain of letters. Kiara told Cecil that it wasn't that his brother didn't like her, but he never misses even a single day of training. He was training his muscles, swordsmanship, magic, and ran 100 kilometers every day. And nobody's making him, he's just doing it all by himself. No normal person could go that far. Cecil did think he looked strong when they first met, but Noah was the personification of hard work after what she heard from Kiara. She started blushing so hard. It was a wife's duty to cheer her husband on when he was working hard, so there was nothing to be worried about. In the next scene, Noah was finally done with his training, and the three of them were having dinner. Cecil liked the food, so Noah was glad it suited her taste. Their chef Anbar would be happy to hear it as well. Cecil suddenly asked him about the 12 mages. In the game, they were a group of mages that acted in the shadows and specialized in killing. These 12 elite mages tried to kill the hero many times over the course of the game. He remembered them since he played the game, but they were after the hero, not him. He said he had heard of them but was curious to know what this had to do with him. Cecil started squeezing his cheeks, saying they could come after them. The Francis family had a monopoly on national trade. There were plenty of people who would love to see him gone. Looked like the Francis family was even more important than Noah thought. He realized that he needed to protect his family. On the surface, it looked like the 12 mages were only after money, but their true goal was to form their own country. They were nothing like normal people, and it only made sense that they would want their own country. She had no idea what they might try, so she asked him to take care. Noah thanked her, and he was amazed by her knowledge of these things. The butler brought today's main dish. Cebus asked the butler to take out the trash, and the man said okay. The man took the garbage and went to the garbage can. As he opened the garbage can, one of the butlers was there, tied up. He told him that garbage wasn't supposed to struggle and make noise. The mansion was heavily guarded as he expected, and of course there was a poison tester too. The only thing outside his calculations was Cecil Edwards' presence. As the butler's body started transforming, Albus appeared, saying this was child's play for him. There was exactly 0.1 gram of dragon tranquilizer in the meal that Noah was having right now. In an hour before the effect sets in, and then, while he was in a deep sleep, he was going to kill him unnoticed with his own 2 hands. Noah finished his plate and said he felt tired for some reason. Sebas told him that they were in the middle of a meal. Cecil started to feel tired too. Sebas assumed they had a hard day and showed her to her room to let her rest. At night, Albus came to Noah's room. He saw that he was fast asleep. No matter how strong he was no different from a defenseless baby after eating that tranquilizer. He could kill him with his ability, but he would be merciful and send him to the next world peacefully. As he reached for his blanket saying it was time for the scales of judgment, he received a strong kick on the back and was thrown away from the window. Falling on the ground, Albus was shocked that he was blown away like that. Noah appeared, saying he wasn't happy about an old man sneaking into his bed. Albus was shocked because he shouldn't be awake right now. Noah was surprised and said it must be why he slept so well. He had been struggling with sleep even when he was exhausted, but thanks to the drug he felt so refreshed right now. This was quite unexpected. But now that it had come to this, there was no turning back for Albus, so he took out his sword. He was carrying the sword of the king of the underworld, called the Scales of the Heavens. He introduced himself as Albus, the mage of the scales. He said he was going to have his life and kill everyone related to him. Noah noticed that his life had been in danger a lot lately. When he first became Noah, he only tried to become stronger to protect himself. But now it was different. He didn't just want to protect Noah, but Kiara too and everyone else. He took out his sword and told Albus to come at him. It was time for him to face his muscles. The fight started, and in the midst of it, Albus used something called the Spear of Many, and summoned tons of spears on Noah. However, Noah was fast enough to dodge every single one of them and saved himself. He had the advantage when it came to swordsmanship, but the spells from those scales were getting really annoying. He thought about something and tried to use fire magic. However, it did not affect Albus. But this was not his plan. He used that fire magic as a distraction and reached him quickly by using Flash Step. With his swordsmanship skills, he slashed Albus's chest with his katana. Albus collapsed to his knees. Noah told him that it was over as he assumed he wouldn't be able to keep fighting with that wound. Albus took out a weigher and somehow healed his wounds within seconds. To mock him, he even asked what wound he was talking about. That flame in the scales was his request. which could be fulfilled by offering something of equivalent value. When he recovered from his wound, he paid around what a potion was worth. Albus didn't expect Noah to know about his magic. He said he was guessing, but he actually knew that from the guidebook. Albus stabbed his sword into the ground and asked if he thought he could defeat him. He reminded Noah that he hadn't even managed to hurt him yet. Noah kept talking about his scale, saying it could do wonders for his muscle training, depending on how he used it, and asked if those spears were spatial magic. It would be nice not to have to go shopping. Albus seemed annoyed that he was not taking this fight seriously. Noah explained that he just thought his magic was interesting. Albus asked if he was mocking him. Apparently he was now a mad opponent, and he created a magic circle around Noah. He said it was still his win before blowing up the magic circle with a magic called Bone-Burning Hell. He was enjoying this and said his power was overwhelming even without his scales. His Lord of the Underworld, Bone-Burning Hell, was so powerful that even an A-ranked adventurer would be burned to ash. Not even his bones would remain after this fire. What he didn't expect was Noah coming out of the fire like nothing and saying he would need more heat for that. Albus was flabbergasted. Noah started to question if he really was trying to kill him because he was one of the 12 mages, and it seemed like even Phrygia had more firepower than this. But he was upset that his clothes got burned because Sebas was going to be so mad. Sebas figured flames wouldn't work on him, so he took out a crystal dragon horn. It was a super rare item. This was enough to shock Noah. He wondered what he could do if he was offering something so valuable as compensation. Albus said nobody could stand up to the judgment of the scales. A magic stone box appeared in the sky waiting for Albus to destroy Noah. Albus threw the box on Noah's body. Assuming that he was dead, he admitted that he was a strong opponent even though he was just a kid. However, after a few seconds, Noah started sumo squashing the magic box. Albus was shocked that he could lift that amount of weight. Not even 50 grown men should be able to budge that super dense, hard, big magic stone. Noah heard him talk about weight and started to wonder if he could make something like this with alchemy, since he had been wanting all kinds of different dumbbells. Albus started to realize how powerful Noah was. Noah lifted the box enough and just delivered it to Albus. After he was crushed by that box, Leon appeared, asking if he was hurt. Noah said he was fine. Albus, on the other hand, wasn't. He opened his eyes and saw the giant muscle heads in front of him. He yelled at them to stay away and called them macho monsters. They seemed offended by that nickname and just asked him to call them muscles. As they grabbed him, all he could do was scream his lungs out, begging them to stay away from the muscles. In the next scene, it was another day of training. But something was different today because Albus was joining them. This training was something no ordinary person could finish, so it was torture for him for sure. And he was sure their muscles weren't human. They told him that they hadn't even done half a lap yet. Cecil was also there as Noah was warming up, and she wondered why the enemy was running with them. He said it was because they caught him. Cecil asked him not to make it sound like he picked up a stray cat. At first, Noah was thinking of handing him over to the guards, but all that awaited him there was being sentenced to death for his crimes or getting killed to shut him up, death either way. So Lion thought employing him for Noah's sake made more sense. Cecil decided to ignore the fact that he had called it adopted before employment. Seeing him on the floor exhausted, Noah was sure Albus would come to appreciate the joy of muscle training someday. Leon approached Albus and told him to get up. He was nowhere near done for the day. Phrygia came and noticed that Leon was busy. Phrygia's job would be significantly easier thanks to that Albus mage joining them. She was trying to decide what to do as she had more free time now. Leon was puzzled as to what she was talking about because Albus was just going to function as a mana tank for her. She would be using his mana to fire all the spells. He was the only one powerful enough for Noah, so she would be using Albus's mana to fire as many spells at Noah as she could. Phrygia did not expect this because it was basically inhumane. Leon asked if she preferred the bucket of potion, but that was inhumane too. Albus asked if they were in hell, but Phrygia was uncomfortable with him calling her by her name. Noah was ready to start his training and asked Cecil to help him do something. Cecil was so eager to help him because it was going to be her first time working together. She asked what they were making. Noah pointed somewhere, saying it was obvious. He wanted to create muscle training equipment. In the next scene, Noah was trying out different kinds of healing potions. He finished the last one and asked Albus, who was working like a slave, for more. Sebas and Cecil appeared, and she was curious to know what he was doing. Sebas replied that he had taken an interest in alchemy lately. He was completely absorbed in trying to make something. Noah explained that magic stones were much heavier than normal dumbbells, and if he channeled mana through them, they could give them all kinds of different effects. This time, he made dumbbells that increase in weight. Over there, he had flying dumbbells and exploding dumbbells. And he also had his personal dumbbells that were enchanted to be 10 times as heavy. The others seemed like the new dumbbells. They were also amazed by Noah learning enchanting. Cecil had to request that they not make it sound like raising kids and building muscles were the same. Meanwhile, Albus was trying to rest for a second. This mansion was filled with nothing but perverted muscle monsters. Even though they may have spared his life, he wondered if that guy managed to kill the hero. He had a bad feeling about him. Meanwhile, somewhere in the forest, a guy was frustrated that a cat mage guy he had fought against had gone missing. He thought it was meant to jump on him just because he was the hero. A light appeared among the clouds and the sun came up. He was the man who should end up with Cecil in absolute Oblige, the hero, Arthur Miriam. Arthur suddenly realized that he had forgotten to take in the laundry before he left home, but it was too late to go back now. He was carrying the mage cat in his hand. The cat couldn't believe he beat him in just one attack. He may be an idiot, but he was super strong. Arthur was just happy that he got a new cat and even named him McFat. The cat screamed at him that his name was not McFatty. Arthur was shocked that he could talk. The mage cat meowed to him and he was completely convinced that the cat couldn't talk. Back in the mansion, Noah made a dumbbell for Cecil. It was thanks to her warning that he might be targeted. Cecil was shocked, so he thought she was shy. But she was just confused because even though it was a present from her fiancé, it was still a dumbbell. Sebas arrived and gave him a box. He told him that giving Cecil a dumbbell was quite rude. Women were creatures who would remember every single present he gave them, and making a single mistake could haunt him for the rest of his life. They get especially relentless after childbirth. Noah realized that he was speaking from experience, but he figured it still meant he needed to make it good again. He said there was something else he wanted to give her and gave her the box. Cecil opened the box, and it was a beautiful ring. Noah was shocked. Cecibus explained that the lord of the house prepared it for the two of them. Noah realized that he had tricked him. Sebas explained to him that he would be hopeless on his own. He didn't even try to meet up with his fiancée. Noah was about to oppose, but then he noticed that Cecil really liked the ring. She then asked him to put it on her. Sebas asked Noah to promise him not to make Cecil feel lonely again, and he did. He kindly held her hand and slowly put on the ring. Cecil was beautiful and kind. He was really glad she came to visit him, but still, he knew that the one Cecil truly loved wasn't him, it was the hero. After he put it on her, she promised to treasure this for the rest of her life. He was shocked by how cute she was while saying those beautiful words. He wanted a distraction immediately, so he asked the muscleheads if they wanted another dumbbell. Everyone raised their hands for that. Some of them even wanted running weights. Noah promised to do that and get to work immediately. Sebas asked Cecil to forgive Noah. He was sure she must be mad that he took so long to present her with an engagement ring. However, she surprised Sebas by saying she wasn't mad. She felt like she understood Noah a little better now. She had heard that Noah Francis was a cruel and merciless villain, but nothing could be further from the truth. Sebas corrected her that the rumors were right long ago, but he had changed by himself and had become a wonderful person. Cecil believed he was a wonderful person too. The truth, Noah was the one she had seen with her own eyes. Sebas seemed satisfied with this conversation. He then wondered why she came here today. She was surprised that he forgot about it. Something was coming up very soon. It appears Noah would have to endure no muscle training for the time being. In the next scene, Noah checked his stats and he made a surprising discovery. Until now, his intelligence was unknown, but now it is said muscle. He thought it meant something like it didn't know how to process a Japanese person's knowledge, but the fact that it said muscles now seemed to frustrate him. It was saying his mind was completely dominated by muscles, so he was a meathead. He wanted the system to tell him more, but it didn't open. Sebas came out of his room and informed him that he had forgotten something important. There was only a year left until the entrance exam in the capital. Noah didn't seem to care about it since they still had a whole year ahead of them and continued to work out. Sebas stopped him and gave him the bad news. He was forbidden to do any muscle training until the entrance exam. Now he was freaked out. He started having a meltdown and collapsed to the ground as he was crying. He screamed at Sebas that he would not study and that he had a date with his biceps today. Sebas grabbed the dumbbell he was using in his room and asked if he didn't care about that dumbbell. Noah kneeled in front of him and said nobles only have to pay to enter the academy. Sebas then asked if he was okay with that. He had been called scum and trash and whatever else, but he had made it this far through hard work. That's when Noah realized what was important. Sebas asked him to just take this opportunity to prove everyone wrong. He encouraged him to work hard and take the top spot with muscles. Those words were enough to excite Noah, but for that he reminded him that he needed to study. He had prepared a special tutor for him and called her inside the room. Cecil, with a suit dress, came and said she would be his teacher starting today. She was going to make sure to teach him everything from the smallest details. Noah was shocked and asked why she was wearing that. Cecil thought he would prefer her to wear a swimsuit, and before he could stop her, she took off her clothes because she was actually wearing one under it. She asked if this outfit motivated him enough. Noah couldn't help but notice that she had a great figure and some pretty good abs. Now that he thought about it, she did want to touch his pecs before, and this made him wonder if she was a fellow muscle lover too. Cecil grabbed his hand and told him not to worry. After all, she would be taking the entrance exam with him. Hearing that, Noah found it pretty diligent and said he needed to learn from his example. He promised to do his best. They sat down and Cecil started the lesson with history. As she started talking about the structure and posts of the capital's magic association, Noah collapsed to the ground. Sebas came and said it was a muscle study rejection reaction. It was a disease where the muscles cut off all electrical signals to the body when one started studying. Cecil of course didn't buy that and assumed he just didn't want to study. She shook him a bit to wake him up, but it didn't work. Cecil thought about promising him a dumbbell as a reward. Cecil wasn't sure if that would be a good reward because she thought a boy of Noah's age might be interested in girls. Cecil seriously turned to her and reminded her that men would do almost anything as long as you give them a dumbbell. And here she thought she had come up with a good reward, but she lost to a dumbbell. Cecil's mentioned that Noah sure had built quite a lot of muscle. No, that he mentioned it, Cecil noticed that they were all 2 levels bigger than before. Cecil's just had to say he would confiscate his dumbbell if he kept sleeping. He woke up screaming after that sentence. Cecil just told him to continue studying, but her face was so red that Noah was curious. She said she was just imagining things and continued studying. In the next scene, the 12 mages were gathered in a meeting and they were talking about the mage of the scales and the mage of the magic cat. Lisa said it was the cat's first job, so it might be just a bad matchup and that's why they were lost. Flamma asked who it was and someone responded that it was the hero Arthur Miriam. They were surprised to know that the hero was that strong. But Albus was a mage Flamma personally acknowledged, and it was unthinkable that he failed at taking down the Francis territory. A failure was still a failure for the leader. The request was to bring the Francis territory to ruin and use that to bring about the kingdom's destruction. That's why they needed to either persuade or kill Noah Francis. It was all for the sake of the grand purpose after all. Lisa pointed out how their number 1 was always strict. Number 1 asked them to deal with this immediately and dismissed them. When everyone left, Lisa shared her frustration with Flemma, saying she didn't like them because they were arrogant. Flemma told her not to say stuff like that. Too much power often comes with a few negative sides after all. He then asked if she had investigated the Francis territory. Lisa showed him the papers. They had Sebus, the retired once legendary assassin Anbar, the former master hunter once feared as the Black Wolf, and Orga, previously the royal defense captain famed as the Invulnerable, employed under them. Each and every one of them was a monster. If they had known this earlier, Albus wouldn't have gone alone. Lisa worked really hard to dig up this information. The Francis family had been quite thorough in hiding their backgrounds. He asked Flamma what he wanted to do. What he wanted to do was grieve the loss of Albus, but they had another job to do. Kidnapping the second princess Clay Leruis was their priority. Lisa commented that the princess seemed to be headed for the Francis territory. They decided to take care of both. They were going to clean up the mess of both the second princess and Noah Francis. Flamma swore to avenge his best friend Albus. Back at the mansion, Anbar informed Sebus that Noah had escaped. He broke the gate after distracting Anbar with a dumbbell. Sebus ordered Anbar and Orga to find him and bring everyone in the muscle troop. Cecil said Noah was strong, so they didn't have to worry that much, but Sebus was worried because he was strong. He had forced Noah into a life of muscle abstinence to get him to study, so he wondered what would happen if his muscle desire burst. He could only scarcely imagine it. Flamma and Lisa arrived in Francis territory and went to a certain underground room. Flamma was holding a rabbit in his hand and he asked Lisa to give him her hair. She was annoyed because she had just combed it but still gave one. Flamma placed the hair inside the rabbit's ear, and when the rabbit opened its eyes it was black. Lisa noticed that Princess Clay was awake. She told Lisa that she was not going to get away with this. Lisa was sure that nobody would come to save her. And no matter how strong they were against the 2 of them, even 30 royal knights wouldn't be enough. Princess Clay said it was because of their dirty magic tricks. If they had an honest fight, then things would be different. Lisa grabbed Princess's clothes and ripped them open. She told her that there was no such thing as fighting dirty. Princess started screaming at them, asking them not to look at her. Lisa assumed she was a virgin after her innocent reaction. Flamma didn't care about the princess and told Lisa to do whatever she wanted. She said she would and approached the princess. She said she would submit sooner or later, so she would enjoy herself while she could. Licking her neck, Lisa wondered what she would taste like. Flamma called Lisa a lunatic for that. He said they should start by reporting that they had captured her. He used submission on the rabbit. Lisa asked what he was doing with that thing. He said he could dominate the body and mind of any target he cast submission on, and by implanting a strand of Lisa's magic gear he could control it much more precisely. Suddenly, Noah appeared behind him with a dumbbell and attacked him. Flamma used dragon breath on him to dodge his attack. Lisa was shocked and asked what the hell he was doing. He said they had an intruder. Lisa couldn't believe what she heard because this room was covered in her hair, so there was no way they could enter without her noticing. Noah was still standing and called them rude for casting a spell on him. Flamma was shocked that Noah was here. After Noah escaped the muscle abstinence, he took a trip with Dan. He was enjoying his freedom by walking around in the town and eating a meat skewer. The shopkeeper said he looked like an energetic kid and even gave him an extra one. It wasn't like he ran away because he hated studying. Inspecting the town was an important duty for the heir of the family after all. He saw someone selling freshly squeezed broccoli juice and was interested. Behind him, Hashbart appeared and hit him. He was panicked because he thought something had happened to Dan, his dumbbell, but everything was fine. He saw that the one who pushed him was Hashbart. He greeted him. Shocked, Hashbart asked why he was in town. He responded that the 2 of them were on a trip right now. Hashbart was confused because he was the only one here. Noah changed the subject and said they ran into each other and they should talk about muscle love. He started chasing him to teach him to love his muscles. His standing with the citizens had improved quite a lot compared to last time. He suddenly stopped while chasing Hashbart. He could tell how many people there were with detection. 2 people felt similar to Albus and it really bothered him. So he took Dan with him and started searching for them. And it looked like coming here was the right choice. He couldn't believe they had confined a girl here. He then noticed that the girl was naked and covered his eyes. She told Noah to run away and leave her because they were part of the 12 mages. Lisa kissed the princess on the lips and told her to shut up. Noah was so embarrassed. Flamma approached him and said he spared them the trouble of looking for him. Noah used appraisal on them and read their stats. As far as he could tell from his status, they were overwhelmingly more powerful than him. It was obvious that he could run away like Princess Clay was telling him to. But he didn't want to leave her alone like that. Flamma said he didn't think he would walk into the lion's den all on his own, but they would gladly eat him up all the same. Lisa told him not to run away now and promised to treat him really nicely. Noah stated that running away was out of the question. He ordered them to let her go. Flamma liked his confidence and told Lisa to get ready. Noah put Dan to the ground for a moment. Lisa started attacking Noah with her magic hair. She could control and transform her hair any way she wanted. Noah could barely dodge her. She decided to narrow the detection from the whole city, not just this room, and while maintaining parallel thought, he was going to use observation to track their moves. After this combination, he started blocking all Lisa's strikes with his katana, so she had to ask Flamma to back her up. Flamma used subjugation and summoned Gigantos, a giant ogre monster. Lisa used her magic to restrict his movements. Noah cut down her hair and let himself go free, but he jumped right in front of a magic circle, and the ogre crushed him. They were relieved that he was finally dead. The noise was going to have people running here, so Lisa suggested moving bases. Flamma said he was much stronger than the princess's bodyguards. What they didn't expect was Noah's complaining voice. Flamma heard it, but Lisa didn't. He stopped and looked behind the mess. He could hear Noah saying yeah over and over again as the fist of the monster was moving. Noah lifted the arm like it was nothing, and shocked everyone. Noah threw the monster to Lisa and Flamma with ease and let out a breath. He noticed that he didn't take much damage. Even if there was a huge difference in their stats, that didn't mean he didn't stand a chance. He just had to trust his muscles. Flamma started to question what Noah was. Any normal human would have gotten crushed by that. Noah told them that this was a dangerous attack. It was a luck that it hit him and not anyone else, and he told them to have some common sense. Flamma yelled at him that his clothes were ripped and he had no idea what common sense was. He did have a point. Lisa said they would of course crush him if he got in the way of their important work. Noah asked if she meant kidnapping that girl. Lisa just called him annoying. Flamma told her that they were going to that thing. They were just prepared for some collateral damage at this point. Lisa reminded Noah that when you combine magic it becomes much more powerful. They started to share their mana with each other and created a black snake with Lisa's hand and Flamma's domination skill. The snake was throwing black ballast, Noah. He dodged them and it hit the knights behind him. They were dead within seconds. If that hits him, the hairs would invade their body and take control. He was certain his muscles could deflect them, but he would have to protect his eyes and ears at all times. Lisa wondered how long he could dodge a never-ending torrent of hair. Even if Noah tries to close the distance with a flash step, Flamma's magic dog would get in his way. And if he used magic, that girl might get caught up in it. He had to defeat them before Lisa's attack hit him. He would just have to charge his way through. That was his only option. He took out a sword and said he was borrowing it from Cecil. Back when Cecil and Noah had a sword match, Cecil was so happy. Noah heard it from Lion that she was quite strong, so he thought it would be good training. She reminded him that she was a user of the Edward style, the style that won the last Royal Swordsmanship tournament. So she asked him to go all out. Leon told Noah that Cecil was so good they call her the Starry Sky. He would be taken out if he let his guard down for even a moment. Cecil agreed and added that he didn't have to worry about when they sparred. But Noah still decided not to use strength because he could not risk hurting her. Soon after, he deeply regretted not using his strength. He used observation and copying skills and made a perfect copy of Cecil's way of fighting. Lisa wondered if that skill was some kind of mimicry. He acted like he got this in the bag, but she wondered how long he could keep that attitude. She kept sending him the black balls, but with the blink of an eye, Noah appeared right on top of Lisa. He used Edwardian-style swordsmanship. Before she could respond, Flamma used a magic dog to save her. After the explosion, Lisa was hurt, but she was still standing. Flamma couldn't believe he could produce such power without a spell. Normally, strength couldn't do that. They realized that Noah was no ordinary person. They had to crush him here no matter what. They knew he would be a threat to them in the future. Even if he wasn't, she would make him pay for all the hair she had lost. Flamma asked Lisa if she could still use magic hair. She said that the hair he cut wouldn't move, and it would be tough. Flamma planned to get close enough and use domination, so he asked her to just cover him. The essence of Edward's swordsmanship was to protect. Cecil explained to Noah that she liked a sword that protected better than one that hurt people. So the Edward sword style suited her very well. She said he could protect people too. That was a wonderful thing, so Noah liked it too. Flamma summoned an ice dragon blast and Lisa used a 1,000-hair stampede to attack Noah. As they were rushing to him, Noah said he demonstrated the true value of the Edward sword style when he completed the 7 stars. He created a barrier right before they hit him and protected himself. And after that he hit them with the vast starry sky protection. This counterattack was enough to destroy the whole building. Lisa and Flamma were on the ground barely moving. Lisa asked who the hell he was. Noah picked Dan from the floor and said he was Noah Francis, the heir to the duchy who loved muscles and his people. In the next scene, Noah was inside a cage and apologized for breaking the door in the town. Cecil asked Sebus if he could forgive him. Sebus reminded Cecil that he had broken part of the town. After all that work fixing his bad reputation, they couldn't even guess what people were saying about him now. Princess Clay came to the room and asked Sebus to forgive him. She believed Noah should be rewarded for his actions. He might even get promoted in rank. She kneeled in front of Noah and said she had nothing but gratitude for him. Everyone was shocked that the princess of the country was bowing to Noah. She said that when she heard he was engaged to her friend Cecil, she came to size him up thinking she was being forced into it. Yet the man she suspected ended up saving her. He had both her sincerest gratitude and apologies. Noah told her not to worry about it and that it was all by chance. Besides, if the princess had gone missing in their territory, it would have been their heads on the line. He just hoped they didn't actually plan to get rid of him that way. Clay said he was a good man and that she was starting to envy Cecil. Cecil was bragging. Clay wanted to reward him with some land or a promotion in peerage. Noah didn't want any of that. Clay then asked if he wanted money, but he refused that too. She was shocked and asked what the hell he wanted. He thought about it and said he wouldn't mind if she could just brush this under the rug, and he asked for Flamma and Lisa. The knights asked what he was saying. They were terrible criminals who kidnapped the princess. Even without that, they would still be executed for their other crimes. Noah said Flamma probably didn't kill the guards. He assumed Flamma liked controlling people. Rather than killing rare monsters or people, he preferred dominating them and storing them with dimensional magic. Flamma was shocked, but Noah just knew that from the guidebook. Noah promised to help him if Flamma let them go, but he would have to stay at his mansion. But he didn't promise anything without Clay's permission. Clay said she was fine with Noah's proposal if it meant getting her guards back safely. Flamma said he would release the guards. If he was going to be put to death, then he would rather stay here. Albus came and saw his friend like that. Flamma was shocked that he was alive. He started yelling at Flamma that going to the capital and getting executed was much better than staying here. Flamma was confused because he would die in the capital. Albus started crying his eyes out and mumbled that the muscles were coming. Flamma was confused as to what he was talking about. Albus said that Lion shows up in his nightmares and force-feed him a bucket of mana potion. Princess asked who Lion was. He said he was his swordsmanship instructor. She wanted to spar with him sometime. Noah didn't recommend this because he was by far the most dangerous person in this mansion. He then asked Sebus how long he had to stay here. Sebus decided to open the cage now. He was relieved that he was finally out. He then noticed that Lisa had disappeared. Princess Clay panicked and said they cannot let her escape from this mansion. Noah was pretty calm and said she could not escape the mansion. Lisa was trying to find the exit. There was no way she would let them kill her. She was both beautiful and smart. Even if she was out of mana, she was still alive. But that wasn't an issue. She had made it through worse countless times. While walking, she convinced herself that this was her chance of winning. What she didn't know was that Lion was right behind her, and she didn't even sense him. Lion stated that they cannot have her walk around the mansion without an escort. She thought he was a nice man, she could trick him. Lion said they had no outsiders come here since Freesia and him. Albus might count too. Lisa suddenly acted vulnerable and said they dragged her here against her will and asked what was going to happen to her. She begged him to let her out of here and that she would do anything. She then grabbed Lion's body and said she could even join him in bed. Lisa was sure that she got him. In the end, all men were idiots. Lion asked if she could use magic. She said yes. He then asked if she had any special skills. Puzzled, Lisa didn't answer. Leon said she had been looking for someone like her and brought the mana potion. He said that he was looking for a healthy mana tank who sleeps well and properly recovers their mana. Lisa started to sweat. She collapsed to the ground and said she didn't mean that, but Lion didn't care and made her drink the potion. With that, she found herself in the same position as Albus, helping Freesia recover her mana. In the next scene, the boys were in the bathroom checking out their bodies. They were comparing their muscles with each other, trying to decide who was the best. Noah was already sure that he was the best. After taking a warm bath, they started jogging. A clean day started with clean muscles. After running for a while, Noah told them to get dressed before they end up catching a cold. A screen appeared in front of Noah and said, "Take off your clothes, boots, attack, and defense." The skill was called Strip. Noah was so excited to have this as a skill. This means that he could let his muscles run free. Powering up by letting his babies free was awesome. The others joined him too and took off their shirts. The women who saw them were amazed by their muscles. Recently, Noah had noticed that women swoon over handsome men and over muscles, meaning having muscles was the same as being handsome. Sebus noticed that he had gotten the hang of stripping. He said he was a little embarrassed at first, but he felt like he had caught up with them all. They started carrying her on their shoulders, cheering for the family's heir. After that celebration, they decided to do a handstand run. Albus appeared behind them with his weak body and begged them not to leave him behind. Sebas asked if he had really given up and asked if he wouldn't want to put on some muscle. He showed him his ultra-dense, super-hard magical stone vest that Noah made just for him. He assumed Albus would be jealous. He said he would get one someday too if he works hard. Albus definitely didn't want that. Meanwhile, Flamma was also there, and he collapsed after a few seconds. He really didn't want to do this anymore. Meanwhile, Arthur, the hero of the game, was wondering where that muscle troupe he had been hearing about was. He heard he would be able to see them if he came to this city. Noah immediately overheard him and was happy that they had become something the Francis territory was famous for. He approached Arthur with the others and asked why he was looking for them. Shocked, Arthur asked if they were them. He said his muscles were amazing and asked him if he could touch them. Noah was more than happy. But then he noticed that he looked like the hero of the game. But the hero shouldn't be here right now. Arthur touched everyone's muscles while Mia, the mage cat, walked away. He then saw Albus and was shocked. He asked if he wasn't off to kill some noble. And Albus thought he was off to kill the hero. He said he lost the hero, and Albus lost to Noah Francis. They both realized that they were being kept at a pet. In the next scene, Noah was writing a letter to his father. He said he was doing well and he trained his muscles, practiced magic, and had his sword lessons as usual. They had made some new friends at the mansion, and life here seemed to be getting livelier by the day. At night, Noah wanted to have dinner together with everyone. Sebas asked if he was sure, and he was, of course. The more the merrier. With that, everyone gathered around the table and had a wonderful meal. This mansion had turned into a sea of endless smiles, and so the day finally came when Noah and his group would head to the capital. However, Noah had no idea that he had already wrecked more than half the game's scenarios already. A few days before they departed for the capital, Friese asked Flamma, Albus, and Lisa about their opinion on Noah. Flamma said he was a crazy guy who swings his sword with brute force, all while being naked. Albus said he was a musclehead who suddenly strips for no reason, and Lisa kept it simple, saying he was the yay brat. Frisia turned to Noah and told him that they were all in agreement and they demanded better working conditions. Noah started sweating and he said they should be saying all this to Leon instead of him, but she said there was no way Leon would listen to anything they had to say. As she was complaining about him, Leon appeared right behind her asking what she was talking about. The other three betrayed her and claimed they loved their live-in workplace. Leon approached her even more and asked if she was unhappy about helping Noah grow stronger. As he dragged her to the potion bucket, she had to say she was happy. Sebas came and told Noah that they were going to miss him. Noah was going to miss them too. He had really gotten used to the territory. All the studying for the entrance exam was fun for him. He had worked so hard. The former guard he had seen before came and apologized about that whole incident. Noah told him once again that it was fine. He apologized to Kira after all. He asked if something was wrong. He just heard that Noah was leaving Francis's territory for some time, so his best friend, now his wife, and he came to see him off. Noah was shocked that his best friend in question was a woman. Still, he was glad they found happiness. The guard thanked him for all his support. Their lives had become much easier, and he couldn't be more grateful. However, while he was gone, he wanted him to let them defend Francis' territory in place. Noah told him that what he did was already wrong. They were right to blame him, and he didn't want them to thank him. But if they still want to protect the territory even after all that, then he could leave the Francis territory in their hands with ease. The guard swore to defend this land with his life, but Noah didn't want that at all. That was irresponsible, and he even had a kid. He didn't notice that Lion was peeking behind the tree, thinking how charming Noah looked with a baby. After that, they set them off, and even on his way to the academy, Noah continued working out. They killed monsters, he trained, and they slept like babies. And eventually, they reached the capital. It was really reassuring for Noah to have everyone with him on this trip. Sebas said his father had prepared a mansion for all of them to live in. Noah noted himself to send him his thanks. He then asked Lion if it was really okay for him to come too. Lion said of course it was his job after all. But he just didn't want to miss a chance to witness Noah's great achievements. Noah smiled at him and thanked him for his support. Lion then noticed that he seemed awfully calm despite the exam being right around the corner. He said he was just that confident. He actually had a plan for after he enrolled in the academy. First, he was going to take the top grade in the entrance exam. Then he was going to get to know the hero and train by fighting the 12 mages. And after that, he and the hero would join hands and defeat the revived demon lord together. He was convinced that his plan was perfect. There was peace for the world and no dying for him. They accompanied him to the academy and wished him good luck. After the written exam, Noah's confidence was at 0. He didn't understand a single thing in the written exam, and every time he tried to read a question, all he could think about was muscles, dumbbells, and weightlifting. This was definitely because of his intelligence being in his muscles. He tried his best at the practical exam, but he failed. Cecil told him to cheer up because many students pass with just the practical exam. She didn't see him because her exam was on another day, but she was sure he did just fine. Written tests were impossible for them because it didn't matter how much muscle they had. Cecil scolded him to pull himself together because he needed to have confidence in himself. Meanwhile, Freysia was reading a hilarious book. Noah asked her to stop laughing while her student was depressed. Freysia was sure he would laugh too if he read this book. He said he wasn't in the mood. Lion told Freysia to cut it out. She said it was fine because he would get accepted anyway. They seemed confused as to why she was so sure about it. She realized that they didn't know anything about the academy. The Absolute Academy was her alma mater. She said that nobody could match her when it came to magic. She had a boy confess to her every 3 days. Cecil couldn't care less about that fact, and asked her what she knew that they didn't know. Freysia really wanted to tell them about her funny stories, but Cecil didn't let her. She said that the principal there was this mean old witch, but she noticed what mattered. She turned to Noah and told him that in the practical exam he brought that thing down. She was sure the academy would have huge trouble with the cleanup. Sebas asked Noah what the hell he did. Noah screamed that he didn't do anything and that he just got a little excited with everyone. Meanwhile, the teacher at the practical exams was trying to figure out what was wrong with the applicants this year. He had no idea how he was supposed to explain this to the principal. In the next scene, Mr. Shino decided to take his lunch break. The other teachers felt so bad for him because he handled this year's entrance exam and was in trouble. The moment Mr. Shino left the teacher's room, he took out his stomach medicine. He finally became a magic plant professor at the famous Absolute Academy, and this was supposed to be his big break. But that damned muscle freak ruined everything for him. Noah Francis treated the principal's precious Morsua so horribly. He decided to go home for today and relax, but the principal appeared behind him. She said he hasn't submitted his report on the entrance exam yet. She told him to go on because she was busy. Sweating and trembling, Shino hesitated to tell her what happened, but he had to. Before the exam started, he explained to the students the contents of the exam. Within 4 days they must obtain a key from the monsters known as Morsuas. However, they should understand that those creatures weren't something students could fight head-on. They would have to think creatively, ambush them while they sleep, set traps, and do whatever it takes. Their score would depend on the technique they used. After explaining the rules, he started the exam. He did notice Noah since he was the infamous villain. He was sure he would fail anyway. The students were trying to brag about their achievements in hunting down the monsters, but they were still amateurs. After they walked for a while, they encountered the Morsuas. They were shocked by how scary those monsters were. There was no way they could steal keys from those things. They all decided to run away. Shino watched them escape. With that speed and size, it wouldn't be able to turn well. The students told each other to dodge at the last second so that it crashes into the wall. Their plan seemed to work on one of the monsters, but when the monster turned to them, they saw that its fangs had transformed. As the monster kept chasing them, Noah just stood there. The students told him to run, but he waited for the monster to approach him. They were sure when Noah tried to grab its fang. However, he just grabbed the fang and patted the monster like a dog. The reason he grabbed its fang was that he thought its strength would make a nice workout. He noticed the key on its fang and took it. The monster was trying to save its fang but couldn't. Noah told him to calm down, but it didn't stop, so he punched its face to calm it down. Mr. Shino was shocked. In the end, Noah grabbed the key and defeated the monster with only one punch. That was easier than he expected. The students were shocked and amazed. They thought they could take the monster down like that and decided to do it like Noah. Shino told them that the exam didn't work like that, but they didn't listen to him and attacked the monsters. Mr. Shino never imagined he would take down almost all the boars by himself. Still, he should be grateful there were so few injuries this year, thanks to him. And after that, Noah cooked the monster for everyone, and they all had a feast together. When Mr. Shino reported to the principal about what happened, the woman was shocked. She was also upset that they made barbecue with those monsters because she even named them. They were such good boys. She asked why he was in the picture they took while eating, and Shino said he was eating together with them. She said she was cutting this from his pay. The 4-day exam ended in just one, and it looked like an unbelievable guy had enrolled in their academy. Shino didn't think it would be a problem because the hero was enrolling too. He was sure the hero would guide the students back on the correct path. The principal then wanted to discuss something about the hero. The next day, everyone was waiting for Noah. When he came back, Seychelle jumped on him and congratulated him. Noah was so glad that he made it in. He seriously thought it was all over for him this time. Also, there was somebody else who was concerned about him. The man raised in a village in the middle of nowhere who awoke as the hero, Arthur Miriam. They were supposed to meet each other at the academy and defeat the demon lord together. That was his plan at least, but the hero in question failed the exam. He was a bit upset about that. His whole plan was dependent on the hero passing the exam. Cecil asked Noah if he would like to take a day off from training and go on a date to celebrate his passing the exam, just the two of them. It sounded like a good idea, so he said they should do it. But first Cecil asked him to put on some clothes. He was confused because he thought muscles were haute couture. Cecil told him that when people ask her who her fiancé was, he must think about how it feels to tell them it was the naked guy. Noah realized how serious she was, so he had to listen to her. She told him that he looked great, but he would look much more attractive in some fancy clothes. They went to a shop to buy him some clothes. Noah wasn't sure what to get and wished he had brought Kiara to ask her opinion. But this was their date, and nobody was allowed to interfere. Cecil told him to try wearing shoes too. Noah said he was fine with either, but she didn't accept this. Suddenly they heard someone screaming, "Thief!" Noah immediately started running after the thief. He used a flash step to catch the thief, but before he could attack him, Arthas appeared on top of the man and kicked him down. Shocked, Noah looked to see who the hell that man was. He was faster than him. Arthur was equally shocked by Noah's power. Cecil stopped the man and told him to stop stealing other people's stuff. She let the guards take the man in. Sebas complimented him on his great job, but he corrected him, saying he didn't do anything. Arthur approached him and asked if he was the leader of the muscle troop. Noah finally remembered him as the tourist from back then. He asked Noah if he knew where the Absolute Academy was. He had been lost for 10 days. Noah started explaining the route there, but then realized that he was lost. Now that he took a closer look at his clothes, he realized that he was the hero. Arthur confirmed him and offered his hand to officially greet him. In the next scene, they took him to the mansion where they were staying. Arthur was amazed by how huge it was and asked if he was really allowed to come inside. Noah told him that it was okay. While holding Mia, Arthur said getting lost was worth it. Noah was still trying to process the fact that Arthur got lost because he was saving a village from a monster attack. Arthur was a real hero. Leon welcomed them, and he was surprised that they were back awfully early. He also thought Noah was supposed to be on a date with Cecil. As Noah explained, they ran into someone. Cecil was behind him, pouting. Leon suddenly started staring at Mia. Mia was sweating so much because she was nervous that he would recognize her. Leon approached Arthur and said he really liked cats. While poking its face, he said cats were solitary creatures and they didn't let others boss them around. He feels some kindship with them. Mia was relieved that she was safe for now. Arthur seemed like he really loved this cat and told Leon that he could not have her. Leon asked who he was, and Noah introduced Arthur as the hero. He said Arthur gave away all his money to people in need on the way here, so he was broke. That's why he invited him to stay here. He thought they could train together. Leon was okay with that if Noah wanted it. Mia saw Lisa, Flamma, and Albus on the ground looking like they were dead and screamed. Leon apologized for letting them see something unsightly and explained that their mana tanks were depleted. Arthur asked Mia, aka McFaddy, what was wrong. Mia was still terrified by this scene. She realized that this was a terrifying place and was glad that the hero adopted her. 1 week passed, and Cecil asked if Noah was home. He was at the training grounds. She wore a beautiful dress because it was the day she finally succeeded at getting her date. She even used the Allure perfume that the shop assistant recommended. When she went to the training ground, she saw Noah running with Arthur. They were running on sand, which strains the legs and loins. They added the tires to that, and it made for the perfect lower body training regimen. Cecil thought she had hallucinated it was the beach for a moment. Leon said Arthur had grown quite accustomed to the life here too. He then asked if Cecil was going to a party today. Arthur came and said he was looking for Leon. He brought tons of cats for himself since he said he liked cats. Both their jaws were on the floor by his carrying tons of cats just for Leon. He said he knew Leon had his sights set on McFaddy, but she was his precious friend, so there was no way he could give her to him. Leon noticed Arthur's mark of hero on his hand. He then kneeled and started patting the cats while saying he couldn't do anything if they were friends. One look at Mia was enough for her to run away. Arthur suddenly wondered who was the strongest one at the mansion. Leon immediately responded that it was Noah, but Arthur thought he was just favoring him. Leon stated that he would understand soon enough. Meanwhile, Freesia and Noah were training. Freesia asked if he was sure she could use all the mana she had left because she didn't want him to blame her for what happened. Even after she said that her attack did nothing to Noah, he wanted to do it again, but Freesia was all out. Arthur was amazed. Leon acted like this was normal for him, but he was also amazed. After that, Sebas called for Leon and apologized for summoning him so suddenly. He didn't mind that because it was about Noah after all. Sebas believed that meeting Arthur had been a good stimulation for Noah, but he was still the hero. He was afraid that the hero could expose Noah to danger. Leon reminded Sebas that Noah was strong. He was sure Sebas believed the same, but this was just his parental love thing. Sebas didn't object to this claim. He wouldn't show a shred of mercy to anyone who attacked Noah. Lion agreed with him. Sebas suggested heading out because a special reward awaited them. In the next scene, Freesia left the mansion because she had had enough of Noah. She didn't want to go back there ever. She was creeped out by the fact that magic didn't even work on Noah. As she was walking through the forest, she encountered some monsters. She was surprised to see them here in the capital. Another monster appeared behind the trees and said it was a pity they couldn't kill Arthur. But even failing to start an insurrection in the Francis territory, those so-called 12 mages must not be all that powerful after all. He was Oblige, captain of the demon army's 9th division. If he wanted to please their great demon lord Suo, he would just have to do it himself. The monsters attacked Freesia first, but she defeated them with Flame Nova. But that was all she could do before she was all out of mana. Oblige was surprised that a human dared to appear before him. His hand transformed into his weapon, and he attacked Freesia with his arrow. Meanwhile, Kiara was playing with Noah. She seemed to have a good time with her brother. Noah wanted to chase after her when he heard Frieza was gone. But since Leon and Sebas rushed out ahead, he didn't need to do anything. While playing a game with Kiara, he was still thinking about them because they were outnumbered. Monsters were headed towards the mansion, and there were 329 of them. Meanwhile, Leon saved Frieza and held her in his arms. He said that this only happened because she slacked off and ran away. Before she could feel bad for running away, she was embarrassed because they were too close. She then noticed that he was just from the attack. Leon took out another bucket of mana potion and scolded her for entering the forest with so little mana and getting attacked by monsters. She was a disgrace as a teacher. He told her to drink this and go back to the mansion. Frieza didn't say anything and started drinking the potion. Oblige came and said he was going to deal with him, and the rest of the monsters could head for the mansion. Sebas didn't seem like he would let him do that. He appeared right behind the monsters, and with only his finger, he crushed its head. It was his assassin technique, critical Hades. He took down 4 or 5 of them with ease, but Sebas knew they were in trouble. Even the 2 of them couldn't deal with this many monsters. Leon wanted Sebas to keep this a secret, and took off his shirt. A huge monster hand came out of his body, and his one hand transformed into a monster-like creature. Oblige was shocked that Leon was one of them. He asked if he was a human. Leon confirmed that he was a human, but he wasn't the normal kind. Oblige ordered his monsters to get him, but with true shadow magic, tons of magic circles appeared and exploded right on the monsters. Oblige was shocked. Leon took down every single one of the monsters, and Oblige was the last one. Sebas asked him if he would be willing to leave. Oblige felt insulted and told them that he served the great demon lord and he would never listen to the words of mere humans. He started running at them, but both of them were quite comfortable. Sebas suggested doing it together with Leon, but Leon wasn't contaminated by his muscle fever, so he decided to defeat this by himself. One used Dark Star and the other used Critical Shine to dodge Oblige. Sebas asked if he would join them. Leon reminded him that he wasn't infatuated with muscles. In the next scene, Oblige went to the Demon Lord's mansion to report. The Demon Lord Suo congratulated him on eliminating the hero and asked where his corpse was. Oblige prostrated and begged for Suo's forgiveness because Arthur was much stronger than they thought. Demon Lord Suo asked if he was saying that he made a mistake as he crushed his bones with just one look. Oblige begged him to forgive him again. Suo asked why he was even here if he didn't finish the job. He said all he did was for his sake, Demon Lord Suo. He wanted to eliminate all those who dared to call him the former Demon Lord. Suo was enraged and told him that he was still the Demon Lord. He had made a mistake that one would have noticed, so he asked if he was trying to doom him. Oblige could barely talk from pain. Suo asked Kabardi where Arthur was. He said he was currently on a luxury cruise ship arranged by the Magic Church. Suo was satisfied with Kabardi's contributions to him, unlike these other useless fools. Kabardi was delighted to hear that. Suo hasn't seen Arthur since he burned down the village. His plan for Arthur was to kill him and raise him as one of his undead, then reclaim his rightful title as Demon Lord. Meanwhile, Noah and the others were enjoying their trip on the cruise ship. Frieza was so happy to have a break. It was Flamma and the other three's first trip since they caught them. He thought he would never escape that hell and felt like being alive was amazing. But when Lisa asked him why he was holding a broccoli and a dumbbell, he was terrified again. He didn't even know when he grabbed those. Albus said the muscle brainwashing had gotten to him. Flamma was about to object to this, but then noticed that Albus was wearing clothes that showed off his muscles. Albus was also unaware that he did such a thing. He was the one who fell for the muscle brainwashing. Albus claimed that he was feeling a little hot today, and Flamma said he had always liked broccoli and the dumbbell as well. Freysia called for Lisa and asked if she got the booze. They were drinking tonight. Lisa of course brought the alcohol, and she also found some sweets and snacks that Lion had hidden. Freysia told her to make sure she kept it a secret from him, but it was too late. Noah couldn't believe they were having a party on a luxury cruise ship right after enrolling. Nobles were something else for sure. Cecil came and said a dance party at the sea was wonderful. She complimented him on how good he looked in a suit. He wanted to take it off because it felt awful to wear. Especially the back felt like it was going to tear. One of his butlers brought his luggage for him. When he walked away, Noah noticed that his suit had torn off from the back and it looked pretty cool in Noah's eyes. Leon seemed to like this ship too. As expected of the Magic Church, they always go over the top. The Magic Church was an organization based in the capital that worshipped magic. They were long preserved and protected magic with justice and power. This ship was embedded with magic interference ore. It was there to protect the VIPs abroad. Getting detected by magic and attacked by pirates would be a disaster. He told Noah to try using his presence detection and he was sure it wouldn't pick up anything. He tried to focus but he was too distracted by Freysia and the others drinking and making noise. Leon shut them down and even when he did it, Noah couldn't sense anything just like he said. They would have been in real trouble if yesterday's enemies had used this. Lion wouldn't reject that. They couldn't just let them accomplish their goal. Noah wondered what they were after. Lion stated that they were most likely after Arthur. Meanwhile, Arthur was asking Mia if she was looking forward to the trip. There was going to be so much good food and they were grateful to Noah for bringing them. One of the butlers informed Arthur that they would take care of his pet until the ship stabilizes. That means they cannot have a nice meal together. He handed Mia to the butler. Meanwhile, one of the muscleheads was complaining that they couldn't bring their dumbbells. The butler tried to explain to them that they would prefer not to have heavy objects abroad. They tried to convince the man that those dumbbells were their best friends. Meanwhile, Leon just hoped they wouldn't run into any trouble. When it was dinner time, Arthur told Mia to come here and eat with him. She already stole one piece of meat from them and was eating alone. Arthur grabbed her and told her not to sulk anymore. Mia had had enough of him and said she would never forgive him for shoving her into that super cramped cage. Arthur was shocked that Mia could talk. Mia panicked and started thinking of a way to trick him, but when he said they could talk a lot from now on, she was shocked. They sat down together, and Arthur said everything had been really fun lately for some reason. When demons attacked his village back when he was at the orphanage, he lost both his home and birthplace. It was really hard for a long time. Once he saved a bunch of people in a village he happened to pass by from a bunch of orcs. Everyone was really grateful. And then he met his master. He remembers staring at his back and thinking he wanted to be stronger, but no matter how strong he got, it didn't do anything to fill the hole in his heart. Mia said he had started smiling ever since he met Noah. Arthur was puzzled because he thought he was always smiling. Mia said that back when she first met him, he was just pretending to smile. But his smile now was real. Arthur realized that what he always wanted was a family. And Mia was part of the reason too. He really loved her. Mia said she was hungry after all that talking. Arthur said there was something he had been keeping secret from Mia. Since they first met, she had gotten a whole lot fatter. This thought made him giggle, but he didn't say anything to her because she looked super cute when eating. Suddenly, Swo, the demon lord, appeared right behind him and commented on how much fun he was having. Shocked, Arthur immediately reacted to him and took out his sword. Swo dodged his attack and said he would expect nothing less of the hero. Hearing his voice and that lingering presence, Arthur immediately recognized him. He said he was the former demon lord Swo. Swo corrected him that he was still a demon lord. They haven't talked in person for a while, not since the village, and it looked like he had gotten a little stronger since then. Back then he had only just awoken as the hero, and he was full of worry and confusion. He couldn't act at all, and he was weak. Arthur asked if that was the reason he came. He decided to show him his current power as the hero then. Lightning appeared from the sky to his sword and he started shining. That was the hero's unique skill, the hero's code of the hero. He attacked Swo, but every single attack was dodged and Swo just crossed his arms. But Arthur was confident. Back then he couldn't even scratch him, but he knew he had changed. He was stronger now. He used Supreme Thunder Slash, but Swo escaped from that attack too. Swo decided that the growth of the hero was something to celebrate, so he created a black ball and threw it at him. He was curious to see what Arthur would show him next. Arthur was annoyed that he was acting high and mighty all the time. Right before he landed an attack on Suo, Kabardi came and dodged him. After the arrival of Kabardi, tons of flying monsters appeared in the sky, coming right at the ship. When they landed, Suo wanted to watch them dancing a little before they died. Arthur heard Mia's voice telling the monsters to stay away from her. She was telling them that she wasn't a normal cow and they would be in for a world of hurt if they underestimated her. She would have to undo her transformation to fight these guys, but she didn't want Arthur to see that. The monsters didn't take her words seriously and started coming at her. Arthur was too distracted that he didn't notice Kabardi attacking him from behind. Even though he was injured, he used his power to shield Mia and told her to run away. She hesitated at first, but seeing the look on his face, she just listened to him. Suo told Kabardi to leave that rat be. This whole ship was interfering with magic, so presence detection didn't work. The only one who could present a threat to them here was Arthur. Arthur heard that and was relieved that he didn't know about Neo and his group yet. This means they still had a chance. He stated that he had seen a world where many people suffer for no reason. The lives of the people who did everything to make it in this world were treated like trash by demons. He never wanted to see that world ever again, and that's why he took up a sword. The world belonged to everyone, and all of them would be defeated by him. Arthur the hero. A few months earlier, in a certain village, Mia came in a hurry and brought some herbs for Arthur. Arthur asked her to put the medicinal herbs on for him. Even though she was terrified by his wound, she still helped him. He told her to cheer up because if she was sad, he would just be the weird one who fought and got hurt like this. But he was the hero, so he had to keep going. Back to the present, the people inside the ship started to worry about the shaking. They also heard the thunder. The workers in there apologized for this and asked them to wait inside the ship while they sent someone to find out what was going on. Leon and Noah started to sense something fishy. Mia came in a hurry and screamed that Arthur was in trouble. The workers were shocked that she could talk and didn't even pay attention to what she was saying. She realized that no one was listening to her in this form and wondered what she should do. She remembered that time when Arthur said that if the world became a world where everyone could smile with happiness, he was perfectly fine with this. She decided that it was time for her to transform into her real form and turned into a cat woman. She told them that she was one of the 12 mages, the magic cat Mia. She told them that the demons were attacking this ship as they spoke, and the hero was fighting them all alone. Leon grabbed her by her arms immediately. She told everyone to listen to her. Her voice trembled as she said she knew she had done a lot of bad things and she didn't care if they turned her into a mana tank. All she wanted was for them to promise they would save Arthur. She cried her eyes out as she begged them to help him. Noah's guards asked Albus if she was one of them, because the situation would change if she were one of the 12 mages. Albus said he had never seen her before. Lisa and Flamma backed him up, saying she was using their name. Mia was so happy that they were all covering for her. Leon thought about it for a moment, then let her go. He apologized and said he was mistaken. He gave her a tissue to wipe her tears. Noah could tell she cared a lot for Arthur and promised that he would protect the one she cared about no matter what. He swore on his muscles. Sebas decided to go with him. There was no way they could abandon their friend in need. Seikl grabbed her sword and joined them. There was still a lot about how great Noah was that Leon wanted to teach Arthur, so he decided to go too. Even Frisha was on board. With that, everyone was ready to save Arthur. Mr. Shino and his friends suggested joining them, but he told them to stop. They could just leave it to those monsters. For Shino, Noah was more terrifying than any demon out there. He ordered them to send an emergency signal to the capital. All they had to do was to protect the main hall. Meanwhile, Arthur was giving his best to defeat the monsters. Even though he tried a lot of different styles, none of them worked on Kabardi. He even told Arthur to take this a little bit more seriously. Arthur was out of breath from fighting non-stop. Siwo told him that exhausting himself by fighting to protect others was the way of the weak. If he wielded his sword for his own sake, he might have stood a chance. Arthur tried once again, but this time Kabaldi knocked him to the ground. He said that he may be the hero, but in the end he was still a human. Kabardi used the Vortex Riser and sent him to the sky. Setsuo told him to take his head. This fight was over. Setsuo was excited that he could finally make him stronger than he ever was as an undead. When Arthur crashed to the ground, Kabardi took out his sword and swung at Arthur. Before he could kill him, Noah threw him away with ease. Setsuo was shocked. Noah said they heard McFaddy ask for help. He told Arthur to leave the rest to them. That was what his muscles were saying. While Noah was throwing Kabardi out of the ship, he ruined his jacket, so Sebas gave him a new and more comfortable one. Arthur was relieved that Mia had managed to inform Noah. Seiyu turned to Noah and asked who he was. With great confidence, Noah said he was just a passing bodybuilder. Arthur stood up and stepped in front of Noah, telling him to head back upstairs. He planned to fight Seiyu even if it meant risking his life until Seiyu ran out of stamina, then leave the rest to Noah. Noah seemed caught up on the risking his life part. He started grinning because he knew none of that was necessary. Arthur repeated himself, but Noah simply lifted him like a doll and told him that one day he would definitely save the world, and that the person who believed in that the most was Noah himself. But if he wanted to save the world, he shouldn't choose to risk his life and die for it. Arthur was left shocked. Suo's monsters did not care at all about Noah being a bodybuilder because they were already convinced he would die there anyway. They jumped at him to beat him down, but even a simple kick from Noah was enough to knock them unconscious. These little monsters were not even enough for Noah to get a proper leg workout. Setsuo now seemed to be taking Noah seriously. Or maybe his confidence had simply caught his interest. Sebas declared that he would eliminate anyone who dared to stand in Noah's way, and was prepared to use his technique known as critical osmosis. Meanwhile, Seisel was cutting down the monsters one by one using his usual Edward sword style. Suo admitted that Noah had at least some power. Sebas grabbed the ship's massive anchor together with its chain and swung it toward the monsters, crushing them all over the place. Cecil also wanted to clear a path for Noah. It would be interesting to see how far she could get against so many opponents. The other musclehead types joined them as well and used a technique they called muscle donut. The four of them locked hands together and crushed dozens of monsters within their muscles. Even the monsters themselves were left in shock. Lion also used his shadow magic and wiped them all out with Black Abyss. He looked annoyed by how noisy they were. Kabardi returned and Eswo asked him if he could kill Noah. Kabardi was certain he would not disappoint Eswo. Since Cecil, Sebas, and the others had cleared the way, Noah casually started walking toward Eswo. The monsters were still arguing about how a normal human could defeat monsters chosen by the Demon Lord. Freysia appeared behind Noah in her high heels and elegant cape, saying how much she hated the ego of these demons. As if that was not enough, they had also ruined her vacation. Instead of hitting the jackpot at the casino and enjoying herself by the pool with a handsome guy, she was stuck dealing with these ugly creatures, and she was furious about it. She created a massive magic circle and prepared to turn them all to ashes. Her wrath was empowering her mana enough to burn through anything. She was the Wizard of Fury after all. She burned all 300 monsters alive together in hellfire. At that moment, Kabardi charged at Noah through the flames. No matter what happened, he could not allow Noah to get close to Suo. Noah did not even bother turning around. Instead, Lion cut off Kabardi's arm. Lion had decided that Noah was far too pure to fight someone that disgusting, so it was best for him to handle the job himself. And just like that, Noah finally reached Suo. Before starting their fight, they introduced themselves properly. Suo was the 33rd Demon Lord, and Noah was the heir of the Francis family. Noah wanted to show this demon how strong they were. He was counting on his muscles for that. He activated his strength and used stripping to take off his clothes. He had the perfect body. Suo called him a perverted meathead, but that was like a compliment to Noah. Sebas told Suo that he still didn't understand the wonder of muscles. Noah rushed towards Suo as he took out his sword. Suo stopped his swing with one hand, but he didn't expect him to be strong enough to attack him. He found it interesting that he used a sword. He created little magic balls and black strips to attack him this time. Noah was fast enough to dodge them. Suo continued and made one big black ball again, but Noah disappeared and reappeared behind him by using Flash Step. However, Noah didn't expect his sword to break into pieces the moment it touched Suo. Suo stated that no sword was capable of hurting his body. Noah was a problem solver, so he used his fist instead and kicked him off the ship. They couldn't even see where Suo went. Sebas once again reminded everyone that muscles were the strongest weapon. They can pulverize anything. The enemy remained shocked as they saw their leader thrown away by a punch. That boy they underestimated sent Suo flying. Cecil's face blushed as she noticed how Noah had changed. The aura he was emitting felt overwhelmingly strong at that moment. While everyone was watching in shock, Noah was calm because he knew that Suo was coming back. As he anticipated, Suo came out of the water with full speed, almost invisible to the eye, and jumped on Noah. As he sent him away, Suo showed him his fist, saying it was his payback. He used void magic and Clazeroas and crushed Noah into the water. He didn't stop there and make another attack on the house. He wanted to make sure Noah was trapped down there till he died. Noah was already crushing under that giant rock that was drowning him. The others who saw that approached Suo to help their master, but Suo made fun of them, calling them a clown troupe. A shadow appeared in the middle of the men, and it was Cecil. She came at Suo with Edward-style swordsmanship 3-star twin flashes, but even after she landed her attack on Suo, it wasn't enough. Suo summoned dozens of bats right there and made them attack Cecil. Sebas used his body as a shield to protect Cecil and took the whole damage. Bloodbat Bane got bigger and threw everyone off the ship within seconds. Only some of the calisthenics dudes were able to hold on to something. Cecil was unharmed, but we can't say the same for Sebas. She screamed his name as she opened her eyes and saw his shirt ripped off. While blaming herself for everything, she noticed blood on her hand. She kept apologizing to him for getting him hurt as she watched the floor being covered in blood. Sebas reached his hand and told her that he understood all too well the anger she felt when Noah got hurt, but anger was nothing but a burden. He reminded her to keep calm and trust in Noah because he was strong. While he was trying to stand up by himself, he mentioned that such a meager attack wouldn't have even made him flinch when he was young. Once again, he realized that growing old was a terrible thing. Suo decided that Sebas was the most irritating one among them. He created a giant black ball and threw it at them as his last attack to kill them. However, the giant ball was stopped by Albus. He used his super dense magic stone shield and saved their lives, but the shield was breaking. There was no way he could hold on so long. Lisa joined him with her black magic hair and created a 10,000 hair rampage, cuticles, but she grew them too quickly so they wouldn't hold out long. A creature's shadow appeared in the sky and it was Flamma. He used the crystal dragon spike and threw it on the black ball Suo sent as the other two held it. Mia joined the battle and threw cleansing furballs at them. Watching this scene, Suo seemed annoyed. "It's just one after another with you guys," he said with an exhausted face. Albus wanted to use this chance to escape, but no one seemed to agree with him. Flamma said they were on board a ship. Mia would never leave Arthur anymore, and Lisa was just worried about her hair. Cecil and Sebas didn't expect those three to support them in a situation like that when they were the ones who tried to kill them once. Suo seemed to have lost interest in Sebas and Cecil, so his small fries decided to target them. Cecil drew her sword and told Sebas to stay back and watch. The essence of the Edward style was to protect, so she wouldn't let them take a single person away from Noah. Seeing Cecil's protecting sword style bored the hell out of Suo. He crossed his arms and said pitiful things that were meaningless before him. Apparently, he expected a normal fancy swordsmanship because when Cecil started using the protection of the vast starry sky, he seemed shocked. Cecil's attack was enough to send him flying again, but it only made him mad. He disappeared and reappeared right in Cecil's face, and as he punched her in the face, he yelled that this was the second time today that he got hurt. The punch was so strong that it cracked the wall. Sebas hurried to see if she was okay after she fell down. Suo decided that they were all eyesores and created a magic circle to perish them. Frisia told Cecil to get up as she used Blaze Citadel on Suo to buy some time for her. Suo had already reached her, so she realized that she wasn't going to make it in time. With Catastrophe Palm, he crushed them with ease. Frisia was on the floor, and she saw Cecil's body lying on the floor unconscious when the smoke cleared. While lying on the floor, Cecil could only think about Noah. Hearing Noah's voice always filled her with courage. Thanks to him, her smile was genuine for the first time in her life. All she wanted was to hear his cheerful voice just one more time. Suo saw Cecil's face and wondered why she was smirking. While laughing, she barely asked Suo if he really couldn't hear him. Right after she finished talking, something came out of the water. And that something was a giant ship piece. Of course, Noah was carrying it. Suo's eyes got bigger at this scene because of how the hell he escaped his spell. The answer was simple: muscle power. Everyone seemed more hopeful when they saw Noah. Noah lifted the giant wreck and threw it at Suo as if it were a paper plane. But harming Suo wasn't his goal at that moment. He threw that thing to make him escape so that he could save Cecil. While carrying her in his arms, he mentioned how Suo was enjoying himself. But he reminded him that he was going to pay for hurting Cecil, for hurting everyone. Seeing him unscathed, Suo admitted that he was a peculiar man. Noah told Cecil to hold on tight, and then he mixed space magic and flame magic. A magic circle appeared in front of the enemies, and his giant fist with flames came out of it. Suo didn't want to let him get too full of himself now and made an attack. But by using Flash Step, Noah appeared right in his face and punched him on the face while carrying Cecil. Noah noticed that no one was dead yet, and thanked Cecil for her help. He looked into her eyes and expressed how glad he was that Cecil was his fiancée. Cecil's eyes teared up right before she fainted. He gently put her down to let her rest and promised to be back. He jumped high to reach Suo, but he knew that Noah couldn't move in midair, so he wondered how he was going to judge his attack. The fact is, Noah never planned on dodging. He literally headbutted Suo's headbutted the concentrated magic. Noah didn't bother to explain and used wind magic to boost himself higher and punched him again. However, Suo dodged him and used that opening to punch his ribs. Ouch! But Noah caught him, and he would not let him go. This was going to be his revenge for Cecil. He went Rey Mysterio on him. Or he says Steel Muscle Sky Crash Atomic Franken. After crushing him to the ship, he was still on him, so Suo had to use Void Chasers. That looked like an awful lot of space magic, so Noah was panicked. He couldn't let them touch him, so he started dodging them. When he dodged one, it hit one of Suo's men, and it killed him right on the spot. Void magic was a superior version of the space magic Noah was using. These blades would automatically seek their target, and anyone they touch would be annihilated. This was a unique magic only he could use, and he assumed Noah stood no chance against him when he couldn't even touch the blades. When Noah grabbed the blade, he said it was untouchable, and crushed it with his bare hands. Suo was shocked. He convinced himself that he imagined this scene. Lion came with his usual calm presence and informed Noah that he had caught a new mana tank now. Kabardi was the new guy. Inside the mana tank, Kabardi told Suo that he was a devil and advised him to be careful. Lion didn't know that he could still speak, so he took care of him. He always amazed Noah with how strict and emotionless he was. Suo still believed it was impossible for Kabardi to lose to a human. He decided to kill him with another giant black ball. As he threw it at Noah, Noah grabbed the ball, and this amused Suo because there was no way those humans could defeat the demons. Noah, on the other hand, was relieved because this was the perfect weight that he was looking for. Suo felt insulted and decided to add another one. Lion, with everyone behind him, informed Noah that they could still fight. Noah was shocked to see everyone standing, even Cecil. When Cecil gave him a thumbs up, he said he trusted them to have his back. Suo was confused to see them like that because he had just shown them how hopeless the difference in power between them was, but they still got back up and continued to face him. The other orcs and monsters seemed intimidated since Kabardi got taken down. This would mean they were in a lot of trouble. They even started thinking about running away. It's not like they ever swore loyalty to him or anything. Suo heard them talking about this and killed them immediately. He called them useless, incompetent idiots, and he sure didn't need useless subordinates like them. He created thousands of magic circles and summoned dozens of void blades again. At this rate, he didn't care about anyone on that ship. It was the same magic that absorbed stuff into another dimension, like earlier, but there were not many of them. The demons tried to run away as they didn't want to die. Noah used to think Suo was someone who was incredible a long time ago, but had turned frail and weak in his old age. But he was just some nasty guy who acted big while clinging to past glory. His power had waned, and he grew frustrated with the world, which he could no longer control as he pleased. He really couldn't keep up with the times. Someone needed to stop this lunatic. Someone needs to teach him the reality while standing on equal footing with him. Noah focused his energy and used fire magic to boost his speed. This last kick was to actually be the one to stop this guy. After the kick, Suo could barely come out of the ruins and questioned what the hell Noah was. Oh, Noah? He was just a villainous noble who enjoyed some muscle training. He opened his arms at Suo and told him that he was going to take whatever he threw at him. Suo started questioning when it all went so wrong. A few hundred years ago in the continent of Demons Dragnia, it was a dark era where many fought for the position of Demon Lord. Demons bared their fangs at each other and spilled blood. He was a skinny little demon on the street. As far back as he could remember, that place was straight out of hell. One day he met Kabardi as a slave. The slave merchant brought two of them. Kabardi didn't think they would earn their keep since they didn't look worth all that. The one behind Suo seemed a lot scared. Kabardi decided to just kill all of them, but the demons stopped him, saying they were Valachians and their hearts were worth a palace each. He grabbed the female one and stabbed her to give him her heart so that Kabardi would spare him. He tried to run away, but the demon grabbed him too. and right before Kabardi killed him, he realized that he was letting himself get killed by guys like this. That emotional outburst created an explosive awakening of mana, and it seemed interesting to Kabardi. He stood up as he said they were all dead, and then asked if he still wanted some. In that moment, Kabardi kneeled in front of him. He said that his power meant he was fated to be hunted by the people who wished for the position of Demon Lord, but only if he wished so. Then he had the potential to become the Demon Lord himself. Those were the words he recalled when Noah was punching his face without a break. He then created magic circles and used Ignis Blow Tempest. With giant fists, he kept punching and punching. Suo started to wonder if he ever truly desired to become a Demon Lord. Even now, he was still not sure about it. However, desire was his only way to survive. Apparently, he gained enough power to dodge Noah's giant fists after getting some flashbacks to his terrible childhood. As he showed a crystal in his palm, he said he was nothing like them humans. He used something called Magic Crystal Body and started shining. When the light disappeared and the smoke cleared, he was in his Omega regeneration form. He proceeded to tell him that the countdown to his demise had begun. After seeing that form, Noah called Frisha's name, and it was enough for her to understand what he needed her to do. She just had to send him flying. Noah created 3 magic circles as Frisha used Flame Nova on him. With that, they combined spatial magic and flash step. Noah was literally flying. He surpassed his limits and used the super strength ability. His muscles grew bigger and flames started coming out of them. Sebas was shocked. That was a reckless move. Lion put his hand on his shoulder and told him to believe in him. He actually said, "Believe in my Noah-sama." Sebas was more shocked that Lion called Noah his. It was only natural that the world wouldn't work exactly as Noah wanted it to. After all, he knew that it didn't revolve around him, but he still had people who believed in him after his reincarnation. He had people who loved him, and he saved people who weren't saved before. He got family and friends, and that's why he wasn't afraid of change. He accepted his reincarnation as Noah. Now, it was time for his muscles to put everyone's trust and affection into this strike. The fastest and strongest ultimate punch with the power of all his muscles behind it. Suo was ready for this attack. He was sure that he was going to crush his very existence. With a maximum output of 135%, Suo started seeing things from his past again. One day, he thanked everyone for all their support and expressed how grateful he was. Kabardi said it was nothing worth mentioning. He wanted to ask something of him, though. He wondered why he didn't kill him back then. Suo looked at him. In truth, he did try to kill him back then. Under the slave merchant, he was living in hell, and Kabardi was the only one who pitied him. He thought that if he had called him, he would have never met such an odd demon ever again. That was all. Kabardi said he was honored. He was really a strange fellow. Kabardi screamed Suo's name while he was inside the mana bucket. Godspeed Destruction Fist and Hell of Despair made Kronos impact Tartaros. The force was too much, and Noah noticed that he couldn't break through. Suo was enjoying this. Noah didn't give up. He tried to move his muscles more and more, and he did it. His fist kept approaching Suo more and more, and he was being pushed back by his muscle power. With that, he pierced through Suo's body. The attack was so powerful that the others couldn't even see it with their eyes. After everything was over, the sun rose, and everyone finally caught their breath. They couldn't believe Noah really defeated the former Demon Lord. Mia was hungry again, and Arthur was looking for her. She immediately turned to her cat form again and showed herself. Arthur was so happy to see her, and he gave her a big hug. Sebas and the other wondered where Noah was. Then they realized that after taking that risk, he might be underwater. Cecil was the first to jump into the water to find him. Sebas panicked because she should not exert herself in that state, but she didn't listen. Lion looked outside the ship and smiled proudly. His Noah did it. Meanwhile, Suo was sinking. He realized that he lived a boring life. He just forced himself to live out of fear of death. He got older and more powerful, but then lost his position as Demon Lord. He recalled when he asked the Demon Lord to kill him. His hand reached out to him and asked him to work for him, and together they were going to usher in a new era for demons. When he held that hand, he saw Noah. Noah wasn't going to let him die either. In the next scene, Noah woke up to a very good morning. He decided to get a move on since Kiara would come for him if he didn't. He put on his boots and started getting ready for the day. The demon invasion caused a huge stir in the capital, but the story that the Francis family, alongside the hero, sent them back prevailed. Thanks to this achievement, the status of the Francis family had improved, and they received a hefty sum as a reward too. Naturally, Arthur was given a reward too, but he didn't want any of it. He wanted to attend the Absolute Academy with Noah, and so he was accepted as an exception. Currently, Sebas is training him physically and academically to enter the academy. When he was finally ready for the day, he was about to leave from his window, but he got caught. Kiara came and asked where he was going. He stuttered when he said he would move his body soon, or he might grow rusty. Kiara once again calmly asked how he was planning to move his body when he was bandaged up like a mummy. That was a hard question to answer. She told the butlers to get him and put him to bed again. They told him that the wounded should rest. Even though he said he was fine, they had to burrito him with a blanket and tie him up. Kiara reminded him that the doctor said his insides were all messed up and that he had to rest for 2 weeks. When he said it didn't even hurt anywhere, Kiara put a nice towel on his forehead and ordered him to get some rest. She closed the window so that he wouldn't catch a cold. Noah figured that she was mad that he hadn't paid much attention to her lately. Dangeroo left a get-well gift on the counter, and it was a dumbbell. Noah was so excited that he ripped off the blanket to reach the dumbbell, but Sebas took it from him at the last second. He begged him to let him do 1 rep. But he reminded him once again that resting takes priority, both for Kiara's sake and his own. Arthur came with Mia and mentioned how he never knew he had to bring a dumbbell when paying a sick visit. Mia told him that this was not normal. They had no idea where SUO went, and he wondered where he could be. Back at Noah's room, a bird came inside right before Kiara closed the window. She tried to stop it, but it landed on Noah's head and stood there. No matter how many times she saw that bird, it was still ugly. Noah was offended and told her that she cannot say stuff like that. Kiara asked if he didn't feel disturbed by having such a bizarre bird attached to him. He looked closely at the bird and noticed that its whole body was a purplish color and its wings were so small he had no idea how it could fly. It acted like it was the boss of everything. Its body was completely round and it was very fluffy, and rubbing against fluffy animals like this was the most soothing thing. Kiara asked where he had caught it. Noah pointed at the forest. Arthur was happy that Noah had started to keep a pet like how he had McFatty. He started poking the bird, wondering what kind it was, but apparently he made it uncomfortable. Noah said it was a myna, but he wasn't sure if they even existed in this world. When Kiara said she had heard of such a bird before, he was relieved. She wondered what it could do, and he said it could imitate human speech. Arthur wanted to try it and started saying words like muscle, weight, and protein. The bird repeated the words and amazed the muscle heads in the room, but they thought the bird was there for them to eat. So Noah grabbed it and tried to hide it. He yelled at them that they cannot eat it and that it was going to be a magic tank. They obviously stopped after that. Noah then suddenly asked Arthur if he would be angry if he knew that SUO was still alive. Arthur thought about it for a moment, then responded that he didn't like him, but he didn't really carry a grudge against him. He was an orphan, and it may have been where he was born and raised, but he was basically a slave. So he wasn't angry about it anymore, but he stated that killing people was bad, and that made him mad. He then thanked Noah for saving him. They were super strong, and he thought he was a goner before they came. After thanking him, he decided to go get some snacks with Mia. Watching him act and talk, Noah noticed how amazing Arthur was. He really was the hero. Still, he was wondering how long he could keep him in the dark. In the next scene, Kabardi was crying his eyes out, apologizing to Suo. What he was apologizing for wasn't the Suo we had seen before though, it was the blackbird that kept coming at Noah. He told Kabardi to keep quiet. He was being a disgrace to the demon kind, but Kabardi was so upset that he turned into that. Suo explained that he was simply not able to maintain his body considering the large amount of mana it took. Kabardi put him to his hands and started petting him as he said he lost, because he had less than a third of the power he held in his prime. Suo said they were but dregs of their former selves. He had no regrets, even if they lost. But the strange thing was, his power had stopped waning. Kabardi asked if he had stopped again. His mana may have grown even smaller in the fight against Noah, but under these circumstances, reviving their former demon army was no mere dream. This idea excited Kabardi. Hearing their conversation, Noah came and asked if he was going to be evil again. They both panicked and told him that it was none of his business. Noah said it was because Suo was something like his familiar now after all. Suo fled to his face and called him a mere worthless human again. He asked if he wanted to make the former demon lord his familiar. He told him to know his place as he hit his forehead with his beak. Noah was unbothered and told him not to look so angry or he would make chicken tenders out of him. He acted like threats like that wouldn't make him back down. He may have lost his fight against Noah, but he didn't lose his pride as demon lord. As they started walking away, Noah screamed at everyone that chicken was on the menu tonight. Seeing the muscleheads dying to fry him up, Suo promised to be on his best behavior. Meanwhile, somewhere near the capital, Noah's father was coming back from his business trips after 3 whole years. As they entered the capital, the first thing they noticed was the festival mood in the capital. Alec Francis suspected Noah only managed to beat back the demons using his guards. He just hoped that he didn't get carried away after this achievement. He didn't want to admit it, but his son was an idiot. Just imagining that he was the next family head gave him a headache. That was precisely why he made Cecil Edward his fiancée, so that she could support him. She was a talented lady who was a forward thinker. He trusted that she would be there to give Noah a good slap and set him back on the right path if needed. He just hoped that Noah could change a little. When they finally arrived at the mansion, Alec was excited to see how much his son had grown. He called Kiara and Noah's names loudly. But the thing he saw was a bunch of muscleheads, a demon, a cranky cat chasing a bird. He was almost sure they got lost. Lion came and asked if he had business with Noah. Alec told him that he was Alex Francis and asked for his name. Lion smiled and introduced himself as Noah's instructor. He thanked Lion for taking care of Noah. From the looks of him, Alec thought he was polite and hardworking. Lion decided to show him to Noah. The moment he turned his back on Alec, he was shocked because he was dragging Freesia behind him. When he asked, Lion explained that she ate the snack he had hidden for himself. She also snuck out of the mansion to join a party for singles and was out cold bawling because nobody there would date her. So she skipped work and hid in bed. This was merely her punishment. Alec asked him to be a little gentler with her. Since it was the head of the house, Lion told Freesia to go recover with a mana tank immediately. While walking inside the mansion, Alec saw some interesting things. Servants training muscles, Arthur trying to study but couldn't understand anything, and Gabardi trying to stop Suo from sneaking so much food. He wasn't even sure if this was his home anymore. He started to question who had turned his mansion into such a crisis. He blamed himself for prioritizing his work over his family. When they arrived at Noah's door, Lion hoped he would continue being a good father for Noah. Alec responded that all he had ever done for him was give him money and arrange his fiancée. He was never able to give him any love. He said he was a failure as a father, but that's why, no matter how short it may be, he wanted to treasure the time he could spend with his kids. When he opened the door announcing that his father was home, he saw Noah's muscular, beautiful body and was taken aback. When Noah greeted him, Alec wasn't even sure if that was really his son. He said he had grown so much and apologized for often leaving him alone. He asked where Kiara was, and Noah said she was in her room. He asked Noah if he wanted to play together like old times, just them and the family. Noah was so excited. He asked what he wanted to do. He thought he would say something like hunting or chess, assuming that he was still a kid, but Noah asked to do dumbbells. When Kiara heard her father was back, she rushed to Noah's room to see him. But when she opened the door, she saw her father doing muscle training. Kiara immediately assumed her father was dead. At the dinner table, Cecil asked Noah if he had made his father train his muscles. Noah didn't see any problem with it, but Cecil ordered him not to do it again. Alec tried to pet his daughter's head, promising that he would make some time for her later. But she lifted her head because he stank of sweat. Cecil panicked because Alec had a mental breakdown over embarrassment. After dinner, they saw fireworks outside. Come to think of it, there was a festival today. Noah heard that all the sponsors were lighting fireworks, including the Francis family. Cecil was looking forward to seeing it. Watching his son, Alec couldn't help but express how much he had changed. He used to be cruel and violent. He had no excuse for not being able to do anything about it, as his father did. Noah had somewhat grasped the reason why Noah was so evil in the first place. Because after reincarnating he was also Noah, he ended up understanding why. Noah admitted that he just wanted him to pay attention to him. He was so busy with work that he was never home, and Noah became sort of the temporary lord. Noah, the oldest son of the lord, ended up being treated as the actual lord by the people around him. Kiara was still a child, so he spoiled her in place of their parents. He thought Noah was unexpectedly kind for accepting those circumstances, but he was so lonely. Noah stated that if he had acted really badly, his father would come back home to scold him, something along such childish thoughts. He wanted his father to see him. Alec once again called himself a worthless father. It couldn't be helped since it was work, but just leaving his kids alone could have broken them. He promised to come home more often in the future. He was about to apologize to him, but Noah stopped him. Noah was too embarrassed to tell him, but he understood how he felt. Something needed to be said for other people to understand how he felt. He told his father that he didn't want him to apologize. He wanted him to say, "I love you." Cecil was shocked. Alec had forgotten that he never said he loved them. When he was leaving 3 years ago, Kiara and Noah picked flowers for him. They even made a crown. It was a present of love from them to him. He asked Kiara to put it on him. Noah seemed worried and asked if he was headed off to work again. He apologized to him and asked him to take good care of Kiara for him. Alec thought it was only natural for an older brother to care for his younger sister. He always left it to Noah. He didn't see his kids growing up despite them doing it right in front of him. He started crying because he was even late for regretting this. He said that he was right. Despite it being so simple, he still forgot to say how much he loved them. He turned to his son and said he loved him so very much. At night, Noah was on the balcony watching the view. Cecil came and said she was glad he was able to tell his father how he felt. Noah didn't think he would cry so much though. It reminded Cecil of something from long ago. Noah asked if she meant the great 24-hour endurance muscle training's great jump rope. But it obviously wasn't that. Cecil was surprised when she first met him. He was nothing like the rumors. He was a kind, gentle, and good person. She was sure he would be able to save many people. He was such an amazing person to him, and he was stronger than anyone else. And if he wasn't Noah Francis, she would still want to spend her life together with him. And if he had allowed it, then she, from the bottom of her heart, would love him with all her being. In the next scene, Noah and the others were standing in front of a building. They all had a different guess as to what this building was, but they were all wrong. When Sebas asked what it was, Noah explained that after defeating Suo, Arthur had been granted permission to enroll and Noah had been granted one wish. So, he asked for a gym in the royal capital. The muscleheads asked what a gym was. Noah responded that it was a dream theme park specializing in muscle training. Sebas seemed interested now. Noah wanted to come with his father too, but he had to go back to work, which was a shame. Lisa and Albus trembled with fear, because they knew exactly what was about to happen. They even tried to sneak out, but Sebas grabbed them and put them inside the building. Everyone was shocked by the luxury of the gym. They had never seen equipment like this before. And there were people in there, welcoming them to the Muscle Gym Snow Bear. Arnold, Neger, and Schwartzy. Noah was shocked by their bodies. There was no way Sebas and the others could stay silent, so they took off their shirts and greeted them back. And when Noah took his shirt off, they were shocked too. Just by standing there, Noah exudes an aura and physique unlike any ordinary person. It took Arnold until his late 30s to reach this level. He turned to Neger and said they were wonderful guests. Neger said that when he exchanged muscles with someone, he could understand them by the heart that loves muscles. He believed that muscles don't lie and they don't betray him. He then challenged Noah to an arm wrestling match to show him how deep his love for his muscles was. Sebas realized who Arnold was. They say that he blew away a dragon with his bare hands. Noah did not hesitate or feel scared. He confidently placed his hand on the mat and responded that his love was deeper than anyone else's. Meanwhile, Cecil was walking around with some new friends. The girls were still amazed and excited to be able to become a school friend of Cecil of the Starry Sky. Cecil asked them not to be so formal with her. The other heard hero Arthur would be enrolling as well, and assumed their year must be special. More importantly, they wondered about Cecil's health. Cecil responded that she was fine and that she had already fully recovered. Noah was the one having a hard time. The girl with the glasses heard that Noah was still on leave. The other girl asked if she wasn't scared, but Cecil didn't understand her question. The two looked at each other before they mentioned the bad rumors about the Francis family, rumors that those taken to their mansion never returned. Even they were scared to look at him. Cecil responded that rumors were just rumors and explained that Noah was a very kind person. He wasn't someone she was ashamed to introduce to anyone. The girls obviously trusted her words and believed that Noah was also a wonderful person with common sense. Just as they were talking about him, they heard some loud voices. The moment she turned her head to see who that was, she saw Noah arm wrestling with Arnold while being naked. She started panicking and screaming, but when the girls asked if that was Noah Francis, she said it wasn't him. The girls were confused, but she insisted that it was not him. They now started to worry about Cecil. She said there was a deeper wound than she thought. When the wrestling was finally over and Noah won, he noticed Cecil, and before he could greet and wave at her properly, he saw her face. Cecil was about to turn into an evil demon because Noah forgot that she told him to wear clothes in public. Noah started sweating. In the next scene, the rest of the 12 mages were gathered because they heard Albus was alive. Goat was wondering why he hadn't come back if he was still alive. Abyss didn't care about him because he thought a low-rank weakling like him would only hold them back. Gristus agreed, saying he saved them the trouble of getting rid of him. Onoram wondered what they were going to do if he exposed them and their abilities. A person who was holding a human skull responded that it didn't matter. Even if somebody knew about them, they would be powerless against the 12 mages. It was Moore's, and she said they would be signing up for a painful death. One of the members appeared behind her and complimented her on her confidence. If they called themselves the 12 mages, that was the kind of lines they should say. He then asked Moors to marry him. This man was Yorugan Shadorius. Moors rejected him again, but that didn't upset him at all. He approached her and touched her shoulder, but that made her uncomfortable. So uncomfortable that she released her power and 4 snakes with human faces attacked Yorugan. Yorugan managed to react in time, but she kept attacking him, and that was not funny at all. The others asked her to stop because she was putting everyone in danger with that kind of power. Olivia appeared on the stairs and stopped Moore's monster. She destroyed Moore's monster and told Yorugan not to cause too much trouble. He apologized and explained that he couldn't handle it when things got so quiet. Onoram asked Olivia if it was about time. She asked why she summoned them all here. Yorugan said it was time for them to take action, working towards making a country together. The others told him to shut up. Abby's asked what they were going to do about the hero and Noah Francis. Their employer, the former Demon Lord, was sent packing, and with him gone, they couldn't just leave them alone. Olivia stated that if they were going to get in their way, they should eliminate them. The first target was the hero, and Olivia put Christus in charge of that. As for the other guy, everyone waited for Olivia to pick them, but Shuku stepped up and said he had robbed him of something precious and that he was going to kill him. Olivia decided to give the job to him, and with the rest of the members, they were going to bring this country down. Yorugan said he didn't really care about the villainous noble or the hero, and he didn't think they would cause them any trouble, as if they weren't the ones who eliminated their leader, the former demon lord. Yorgen admitted that the one he was most wary of was in the magic church. A woman with long hair appeared in the middle of a flower field and she thanked someone for telling her. She seemed relieved that it was finally the time for her to do something. In the next scene, Albus and Lisa were running with the others, but Albus and Lisa were exhausted. Unlike them, Flamma seemed completely fine, and he was acting like one of those muscle heads. He decided to run ahead with the others and left Lisa and Albus there. They realized that Flamma had been completely converted. Albus wasn't that surprised because he had always been the kind of guy to get obsessed with stuff. While they were talking, they heard people approaching them and saying the word potato. Confused, Lisa asked what was going on. Something was definitely weird, and the long-haired woman from the flower garden appeared behind the people, smiling. Back at the mansion, Cecil informed Noah about the craze where people go around saying weird stuff in the capital. She also heard some people who hear what they say end up joining them and going around and shouting it. Noah's eyes sparkled because he thought his yeah had finally taken off, but Cecil said no. She told him that they were saying the word potato. Noah was surprised. If he recalled, there was a certain character linked to that word. He was a reincarnator who had played the game, and he should know more than anyone about upcoming events. So he started thinking about what was going on in the game, but he had no idea. He forced his brain to remember, but whenever he tried to remember, his intelligence, muscle activated and broke his train of thought. All he had were his muscles now, and eventually the brainwashing reached them, and everyone else came back from their run, and they were repeating the same words just like the other people. Lion was annoyed. A woman appeared behind Lion and asked if he knew if this was the mansion of Noah Francis. She was the 7th saintess of the Magic Society, Minerva. Lion found her troublesome. He immediately asked if she was the one who brainwashed the magic tanks he had painstakingly raised. Minerva responded that she had never done anything like brainwashing. She just taught them about love, she says. While she was touching the flowers right next to her, she said this world desired love. Drought, famine, monsters ruining food stores, disasters make people suffer and forget love, and turn them to theft and hatred. And to those people she teaches about love. She was holding a potato in her hand and said the potato was the only way to save the world while the others were carrying her on their shoulders. As they safely put her down, Lion wasn't impressed at all. He appeared right in front of Minerva's nose and asked if she had just tried to brainwash him. He seemed intimidating. Minerva praised Lion for not shouting potato and said he had a robust mind. Lion told her that his heart was already set on someone else as he was taking out his sword. Minerva asked him to show her to Noah Francis. Lion brought her to Noah and she gave him a potato. Confused, Noah thanked her and kept looking at the potato in his hand. While Minerva was greeting Noah, Cecil couldn't stop looking at Minerva's huge breasts. She shook her head to clear her mind and asked about the reason for her sudden visit. Minerva heard that Noah saved many people from demons aboard a luxury cruise ship and said he was a hero and she loved such people. So as a woman, she simply had to meet him. Cecil was uncomfortable with her saying she loved such people. Minerva sat next to Noah and told him to imagine farm life with her. Farming potatoes, a life blessed with many children. As she started touching his leg, she asked if that didn't sound good. Noah, our musclehead gym rat on the other hand, assumed she was asking if he wanted to be a farmer. Before he could answer her, Cecil stepped up and asked if she dared to suggest a question like that right in front of his wife. Minerva explained that the country allowed polygamy and it was natural. Behind the walls, Kiara appeared, asking if they had a guest or if he had made a mess again. Noah was terrified. Minerva said he had a cute little sister, and that cute little sister sat right between them and reminded Minerva that she only had one older sister, and that was Cecil. Cecil agreed and sat next to Noah while grabbing his arm. She said, "That's right. You might think this scene is absurd, but what's more absurd is that Lion appears between Noah's legs, and apparently he was offended that they were brushing him aside to receive Noah's affection." Minerva giggled and figured they all got along so splendidly well. Lion told her to cut to the chase. She was the 7th saintess, and surely she didn't come here just to flirt with Noah. Minerva realized that she couldn't fool him and said he was right. She decided to be blunt and revealed that 1 week from today, the capital was going to face unprecedented danger. Noah asked what she meant by that. She stood up and explained that the leader of the 12 mages that they had been targeting had begun to move. Looking at Albus and Lisa, Kiara and Cecil didn't think they were all that dangerous. Minerva reminded them that their goal was to make their own country, and for that purpose, they planned to destroy the capital. She then asked if they knew the story of the demon and the gate. Cecil knew about it. A dog, a cat, and a dragon live happily in a small village together. But then a demon appeared from a gate. The demon crushed their houses, ruined their fields, and made everyone suffer. The monkey received courage from God, and everyone worked together to punish the demon. The daemon was locked behind the gate to reflect on its actions. It was an old children's story. Cecil's mother often read it to her when she was a child. Kiara liked it too. Noah didn't remember it even though he was the one who read it to Kiara. Minerva told them that this was no mere children's story. It talks about something that happened to their capital long, long ago. It was actually history. The demon actually existed. Putting it more accurately, the capital was built after that event took place. The 12 mages seek to undo the demon's seal, and if that seal comes undone, the capital would be destroyed, and all the people who live in or near it would perish. Lion stated that even supposing that was their goal, they would need her special ability, the Holy Relics, to break the seal. Noah seemed to recall some things about that ability from his previous life, but the moment he started using his brain, his intelligence, muscle attacked him as if it didn't want him to think. He was literally fighting with his own intelligence in his brain. He didn't want to let it beat him forever. As he used his firepower on his own intelligence, he finally remembered. The god bestowed the holy relics upon men, and saintesses hold the highest position in the magic society as the ones chosen by the holy relics. And the potato saintess Minerva possessed was one of those relics. Minerva said they would find the gates that seal the demon, both north and south of the capital, protected by the magic society. Lion thought about it for a moment and said these 2 gates seal the demon, and to undo the seal, they needed 2 of the ancient relics that the Magic Society had kept safe since times of old. Even if they were the 12 mages, he simply couldn't imagine they possessed enough strength to steal the relic from the saintesses and her ridiculous power. Cecil noticed that Lion knew the children's tale was true history all along. Lion responded that he just heard when he was young too. Minerva revealed that they had already stolen 1 relic. They only needed 1 more, and they would surely come for her potato too. Stealing a potato felt like a petty crime to Cecil. Minerva then knelt in front of Noah and begged him to help them. Cecil didn't expect her to be this desperate for a saintess. Noah asked her to raise her head and said, of course he will help her. If the capital got destroyed, Noah's favorite gym would get destroyed too after all. Minerva was confused, but she stayed silent. Kiara said whatever happens in the capital has a huge influence on their territory as well. Cecil mentioned she had got into the academy and made a ton of friends, so she didn't want to lose any of that. She was going to help too. Noah was sure Arthur the hero would help too as soon as he heard that. Just as he expected, Arthur appeared out of nowhere, but he didn't seem so well as he kept saying the words potato and muscle. He even combined them together and kept wandering around. This made them wonder if he would be alright. Minerva had to take her leave now. She held Noah's hand and suggested spending the whole night talking about their future together. Of course, Cecil broke his hands to hold her hands and told Minerva to get lost. Lion approached Noah and told him that they had to take great care that this information wasn't leaked. He decided to talk about it with Cebus first. Mia came with Suo on her mouth, and Suo said he was misunderstanding something. Mia had no idea that this bird could talk. Lion said it could mimic human speech and grabbed Mia to get her out of here. When they were alone, Noah asked about that misunderstanding he was talking about. He explained that the reason why he attacked Arthur on board a ship and not in the capital was that the saintesses were in the capital. The saintesses could swat him like a fly, even in his prime. Challenging such powerful beings was nothing but folly. If their leader was able to steal a holy relic from one of those saintesses, then their power must be equally absurd. Noah asked if he was going to be able to win against them. Lion came and told him that he could best any foe without trouble, or so he would like to say. But if he wished to fight them, he would need special training. Noah thought about it for a moment and then put Suo on his head. He decided to become even stronger to protect his friends. Meanwhile, Shuku was approaching the territory. He was thinking about his worst enemy, Noah, and how he would never forgive him. In the next scene, it was another day when everyone was training. Noah told everyone to take a short rest here. The butlers and everyone were so moved by him, but he was confused because all he did was another training. Cebus explained that he couldn't hope to learn anything whatsoever, yet he still went to school full of joy. Noah thought he was mocking him, but he was dead serious, and he turned to the pile of men dying from exhaustion on the floor, saying he had so many friends now. Noah explained that everyone asked him how to get muscles like his, so he invited them along. The students on the floor accepted how amazing he was and told him that they couldn't keep up with him at all. Albus and the other 2 realized how weak they were. But then they noticed that they were actually amazing and their confidence was rising. The students tried to get up and said they were going to get over this hurdle for the sake of their muscles. Noah corrected them, saying they cannot get over it. Confused, they asked what they were supposed to do. Noah simply responded that if there was a hurdle in their way, then they were going to crush it with muscles. They seemed amazed by his muscular mentality. Even though their muscles were still undeveloped, they still wanted to strip just like Noah. Suo was terrified that he was brainwashing people with muscles. The short rest was over and it was time to go for another lap. However, something stopped Noah. His detection skill reacted and someone showed up out of nowhere like they teleported in. Cebus noticed that too. The safety of everyone was their priority, so Noah told him to get them out in a natural manner so that nobody panicked. Cebus said okay and turned to the students. He told them to follow him. They wanted to follow God Muscle Noah and did not follow him, so he made a critical move with his pinky finger and knocked them out, which was way too unnatural, but Noah didn't have time to deal with him right now. He had to focus on the thing that teleported there. Between two buildings there was a tiny empty spot, and the person was right there. Noah stood there and waited for them to come out of the shadows. It was Shuku. Albus immediately recognized him and he seemed terrified. Noah was clueless, and Albus explained that he was the most powerful among the 12 mages. Lisa told Noah not to even think about fighting with him. It was a terrible matchup for him. Shuku saw Albus, Lisa, and Flamma. Stressed, Flamma thought he came here to get his old friends home. However, Shuku seemed furious. He cracked the wall next to him with his fist and asked if they seriously thought there was any home for them to return to. The tension in the air was different. Everyone was nervous. Noah told Shuku that he knew nothing about that and that where home was something they decided for themselves. Albus seemed surprised, but even though he was convincing, they knew that they weren't in any position to choose. Lisa and Flamma hushed him because Noah could hear him. Shuku then asked Noah if he remembered. He took out a necklace made of a wolf's teeth and reminded him of the wild wolf mutant he defeated in this territory. Noah did remember that wolf and asked what this was about. Apparently that was Shuko's beloved pet, and it always told him how fun it was to hurt people and attack their villages. It was an angel to him somehow. But it never had a place to call home. He felt sorry for it and related to the wolf. He asked what he did to his wolf. Noah avoided eye contact when he said he ate that wolf. Shuko was done talking and he straight up attacked him on the spot. Meanwhile, Abyss and Jurgen were on the roof watching them. Grista's fight with the hero Arthur also started. Abyss admitted that he couldn't imagine a more difficult magic to deal with than teleportation magic. Jurgen giggled and told him that praising would get him nowhere with him. Abyss then changed the subject and mentioned that he didn't mind keeping a low profile while the others fight, but he was wondering if Jurgen trusted their boss Olivia. She gave them orders without telling them anything, and she might think of them as nothing but sacrificial pawns. Abyss would rather have Jurgen as their boss. Jurgen commented that his point was interesting, but Olivia was the one person he would never betray. He stood up and screamed that they were family and friends. He deeply respected her, and Abyss was a friend too, so he loved him so very, 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 very much. He then dramatically moaned and said that hearing his beloved friend say such outrageous things caused him pain and sorrow like nothing else could. Olivia was a wonderful person, but if he wouldn't trust her, it would be bad. Abyss knew that this was just an act, so he told him that he was a windbag. He then asked if they really needed to send Shuko. They knew that Shuko shows no mercy, not even against friends, and apparently if he defeats them, he will certainly kill them. Back on the battlefield, Shuku threw Noah away with his magic tool called Twisted Sickle and Chain. Noah barely dodged his attack and he was shocked by how powerful he was. He couldn't help but notice that he filled the weapon with mana. He admitted that he was a pretty good fighter at a distance, so he got close to him and asked how he would react at close quarters. Noah used Divine Speed Destruction Fist. The townspeople could feel the shaking and thought there was an earthquake. Noah felt that his fist connected, but something wasn't right. Then we heard Shuko expressing that he was amazing at long distance and even better up close. He looked pretty much the same after that punch that caused a literal earthquake. Noah didn't seem scared at all. This was exciting for him. He knew that Cebus was about to scold him again, but he did not care. The moment before Noah's ultimate attack made contact with Shuko, Shuko's shield automatically deployed. It reflected 100% of the force applied to it. On one side of the city, Noah and Shuko were fighting, and on the other side of the city, Arthur and Gristus, another member of the 12 mages, were fighting. Shuko told Noah that his punch was just as weak as he thought it would be. Noah did not expect his shield to be that strong. Lisa came up saying this was the reason why she said this was an awful matchup for him. That shield was invincible. Shuko came for another attack with his weapon and Noah dodged it by jumping. This time he used fire magic boost and went behind him. He kicked his head with full force, but the shield protected him again. It appeared right before he attacked him and the direction wasn't important. At a long distance he attacked him with that chain and scythe while defending with that unbreakable shield up close. Others saw the fight and were confused as to how there could be so much damage. Noah realized that if that shield kept reflecting his attacks, the people around here would be in danger. Just as he was thinking about other people's safety, Flamma summoned his golem and told Noah that he was going to evacuate the town with his magic beasts so he didn't have to hold back. He thanked Flamma, but Shuku used this distraction and attacked him again with his chain. Noah dodged it at the last second. While trying to escape from those attacks, he tried to find a way to defeat this man. Suo was still on his head and said this was a peculiar guy. Shuku called him a bird brain, but Suo thought he was calling him and not Noah. Noah asked Suo if he knew of a way to break through that shield. He told Noah that the shield would reflect any physical and magical attacks. It had no weaknesses. Noah was expecting at least one weakness, but now there was nothing to do. Suo said this wasn't surprising, and before he could finish his sentence, Shkuul cut a piece of his fur. He said he was going to eat that bird that talked back to him. Albus noticed that everyone always wanted to eat that bird and wondered if it was tasty or something. Lisa was sure that a rude bird would taste awful. Noah, on the other hand, was still trying to brainstorm a way to bypass that shield, but his intelligence was all muscle. He was a musclehead after all. Shkuul used his distraction again and tied him up with chains. He advised him not to ignore him because it could cost his life. Now Cebus was worried. While he was chained like that, Shkuul used a lightning chain and electrocuted him. Shkuul identified his weak point. It was his muscles. Seemed like that attack had a paralyzing effect too. However, Noah smirked and told him that such a weak attack wouldn't work on him. Shkuul told him to take a look at his own body. Suddenly his muscles started to get bigger and bigger. The electricity was forcing his muscles into action. They will spasm and grow again and again. His muscles had run amok. Shkuul took out his other weapon and was ready to take his head and bring it to Olivia. Cebus and the other butlers tried to rescue him, but Shkuul threw them away like nothing. Cebus screamed Noah's name as he got bigger and bigger, and somehow Noah was smiling. He seemed genuinely excited even in that position because he thought this was electrically stimulated muscle training. The glass was always full for this guy. He excitedly announced that he could feel the pulsing of his muscles. Cebus and the others did not expect a reaction like that. Even Shkuul was speechless. Noah told him that he loved muscles so much that he hated wearing clothes because they covered the form of his trained muscles. But that was just their appearance. That wasn't the main reason he trained his muscles so much. "What are you talking about?" Shkuul shouted. Noah used those growing muscles to break his chains off while screaming. "No way, that's impossible." Shkuul was sure that he shouldn't have been able to do anything. His muscles were running completely out of control. He was right. He was in a tough spot because he couldn't control his muscles, but what Shkuul controlled was the outer muscles. Shkuul was confused. Noah lectured him that there were two kinds of muscles, inner and outer muscles. The outer muscles command great strength and power, and the inner muscles support his skeleton and organs inside his body. Outer muscles may command strength, but inner muscles rule the body. Flamma once again witnessed what a terrifying man Noah was by using his inner muscles to restrain his outer muscles. He canceled it out just like that. Lisa started to get scared of Flamma. Their friend was turning into a musclehead too. Noah admitted that he hadn't had enough weight to satisfy him lately, so it was perfect timing as he was looking for a new way of training. Noah felt power burst through every muscle and vein in his body. He activated Flash Step, moving even faster than before. Shkuul never saw him coming from behind. Unfortunately, Shkuul's shield reacted in time and Noah's attack failed to do any real damage, but he was at least shocked that he was much faster than before. Even though Noah couldn't hurt him at that moment, Shkuul couldn't land an attack either. Noah used this speed to land as many attacks as possible and somehow cracked the invincible shield. Lisa was shocked. Suo calmly confirmed that the shield would never break. At least not as long as you're fighting a normal human. In Suo's prime he would have been able to pierce 3 of those shields per attack at most. Shkuul was absolutely enraged that he thought he could overcome this hurdle and used 10 shields to defend himself. However, Noah used Muscle Chop and broke all of them into pieces like Jackie Chan. Right after breaking the shields, he finally landed an actual punch on Shkuul and told him that hurdles weren't for overcoming but for smashing with his muscles. Meanwhile, hero Arthur was having a rough battle with Gristus. Gristus used Hailstorm while Arthur counterattacked him with Supreme Thunder Slash. However, as he was about to swing his sword, he was puzzled because lightning was supposed to come out of his sword. This distraction caused him to take the attack and collapse. Mia was so worried about him but also confused as to why he didn't attack. Arthur was also confused and questioned this. Gristus told him that this place was his issue. He then asked why he needed to be in the air to produce lightning. Arthur responded guts. Gristus confirmed that this man was a nutcase and told him that he needed water to make clouds. When the water droplets in the clouds freeze and rub against each other, that's what causes lightning. With Gristus' magic, he had frozen all the water in the air, meaning as long as his magic was in effect, no lightning could be created, which also means that Arthur cannot use lightning. This was also a terrible matchup, and Gristus knew that when he threw giant ice cubes at him, he was Arthur's natural enemy. As he was on the ground, Arthur admitted that he had never even considered under what conditions he could make lightning, but what he could tell, even without thinking, was that he was in big trouble here. He recalled Cebus telling him not to panic no matter what kind of difficult situation he found himself in and to think things through with a calm mind. If he was able to do that, he was sure he would find the answer by himself. And Arthur's answer in this situation was to do a squat and some crunches. He then lay down on the floor saying he couldn't take it anymore. Gristus was now sure that he was just an idiot. Mia wasn't sure at first, but seeing him not moving at all, she had to agree with him on this one. Gristus decided to stop this and summoned his magic weapon called Frost Insect. This was as far as he was going along with Arthur's idiotic antics. He grabbed Arthur with the claws and mocked him for not being able to lift even a single finger. Arthur opened his eyes and asked what that was. Gristus thought he was trying for a trick, but he still looked behind him and saw a fur ball over his head. That's when he realized that Arthur did all those training moves to use his own sweat to make thunder. But it was too late for Gristus. After the attack, he cursed them for outsmarting him because gathering his own sweat in the fur ball in place of a cloud was pretty smart. Mia admitted that it was a really good idea to use that mysterious fur ball. But Arthur was confused because he just saw something in the sky and thought a cloud appeared. He didn't have any clue after all. While they were wondering what that fur ball was, Gristus was running away, but something hit him and threw him to the ground. That something was Shuku. Arthur asked Mia who that was. She said he was one of the 12 mages. His being here meant they were serious. Arthur for the first time questioned how Mia knew all this. She panicked, and thankfully, before she could answer him, Noah and the others came. He was glad that Arthur was okay too. Albus told Noah that Gristus was even weaker than them, so there was nothing to be worried about. While picking Shuku off the ground, Noah told everyone to take them back to the mansion. There was a lot he wanted to know from them. Since Shuku's casket was broken, Noah noticed that she was actually a woman. In the next scene, Shuku felt something warm and soft like her mother, but as she tried to feel it more with her hand, she noticed that the texture was unfamiliar. When she opened her eyes, she saw Noah's muscle-head friends holding her, and she was actually grabbing a man's chest. While she was screaming, the butlers were glad that she was okay. She jumped back on the ground and asked where the hell she was. She called them perverts and told them to stay back. They seemed offended by being called perverts and asked her to call them muscles instead. Since she looked like she was fine, they decided to send word to Noah. When Noah came to the room, she saw Shuku hiding under the couches she put together, and she looked a lot smaller. Even Albus didn't know that she was hiding her true form. Shuku told them to kill her since she lost. No way Noah would do that. Albus started grinning as he said she was going to join them as a fellow mana tank from this day onwards. Lisa said it would ease her suffering a little, knowing damn well it wouldn't. Leon came and told the two that he was going to make a mana tank out of her. He reminded them of the laws of this country. He would get sued if he turned a kid into a mana tank. He smiled and said there was no way that he would do something so awful. Lisa told Albus to go fetch a mirror right this instant to show him the face of truth. Albus ran to get one while Arthur knelt in front of Shuku. He said she was definitely an adult when she fought with Noah, but now she definitely looked like a kid. While patting her head, he commented on how amazing she was despite her age. Shuku seemed frustrated and grabbed his wrist while ordering him not to treat her like a kid and not to look down on her. She looked a lot bigger now that she was angry. Noah immediately figured that she was a dragonkin. Arthur obviously didn't know what that was. Dragonkin may look human, but that's because they possess the intelligence and abilities of a dragon, so they can freely change their appearance. A long time ago, some coexisted with humans and protected them. They were known as guardian dragons. Their lifespan ranges from hundreds to thousands of years. An adult dragon would rival the power of the saintesses, and Shuku should be about 50 years old. Noah assumed humans looked down on her when she looked like a kid, and that's why she took the form of an adult. But he was confused as to why she joined the 12 mages. Shuku clenched her teeth and said humans betrayed her. She tried to attack Noah with her claws as she said they killed her family. Noah didn't even have to step back because Cebus Lion and other butlers stopped her. Furious, Shuku screamed at them saying humans took everything from her. That was the reason why she became one of the 12 mages. She was the enemy of humanity. Arthur concluded the reason to grudge. She confirmed him, saying they took her father and mother from her and she would never forgive them. Arthur had a request for Noah. He wanted to take care of Shuku from now on. Noah was confused and wanted to know why he wanted that. He explained that he was the hero and it was his duty to defeat any enemies of humanity. If Shuku really tried to wipe out humanity, then he was going to cut her down, but he had come to understand something about being by his side. This world was one where, given the chance, you could come to an understanding with your enemies. That's what muscle training taught him. Noah seemed surprised. Arthur bowed to him and asked him to leave Shuku to him. Noah thought about it for a moment, but his intelligence was making him stop thinking, so he threw an invisible punch at his intelligence. Arthur was originally supposed to eradicate the 12 mages all by himself, Shuku included. He didn't know what kind of harm this girl could cause if she survived, so he knew that this wasn't the right choice, but still, he said okay. He left her to Arthur and they fist-bumped each other to finalize the agreement. However, this agreement seemed to offend Shuku as she started to turn into her dragon self to prove that she wasn't a prisoner. Arthur couldn't be more unbothered by her scary dragon form and he jumped on her head, suggesting they play together. Noah just asked them not to destroy his mansion. Arthur said this kid needs to run wild every once in a while. Noah changed his mind and told him that he cannot leave her to him after all. Arthur was shocked. He turned to Shuku and asked her to keep it in just for today. If she ran wild here, Noah would defeat her and she would be taken in by the muscle troop. But if she behaved, she could come live with McFaddy and Arthur. Hearing Arthur talk like that and Noah being supportive, Shuku turned into her real form again and agreed to stay with Arthur. Arthur picked her up and said they could run wild in the forest if she ever felt like it. Lion stopped them and said they knew that they were planning to steal a holy relic to wipe out the capital, but Shuku said they didn't steal that, and then she revealed that their leader, Olivia, was a saintess herself. In the next scene, a bunch of bully and muscly guys were cornering a student behind the schoolyard. The biggest one among them told the kid to jump after he said he didn't have any, and when he did, a dumbbell dropped. He picked the dumbbell up and hit the student. The kid begged them not to take it because Noah gave it to him, but he didn't listen. They left him on the ground while saying it was a jackpot for their muscle down today. Their ultimate goal was to make Noah regret messing with them. The rumor of macho hunting came to Noah's ears. Cecil informed him that they were the group known as Bad Muscles and they were doing macho hunting on school grounds. She heard all the victims got their dumbbells or ab rollers stolen. Noah was furious that they messed with his innocent cuties. This was a serious matter for him. While Cecil was mentioning that the school idol contest was coming up soon, they heard some students talking about the third-year student Friederike Turpin. Noah hadn't heard about her. Turpin came from a family that made a fortune dealing in perfumes and makeup. Suddenly, Minerva showed up behind him and said they were as famous as the Francis family. Cecil grabbed Noah out of her arms and asked why the hell she was wearing a school uniform. She smiled and said this was nothing if she threw around her weight in the music association a little. The Academy was kind enough to lend her one. Cecil reminded Minerva that she cannot trick her. Turpin came inside the class looking for Noah. She introduced herself as the first student to ever succeed in winning the idol contest twice. She then felt dizzy and grabbed his chest to stand up. Noah asked if she was okay, but she was more focused on his manly body. She approached his lips and said she would love it if she could count on his vote for the contest this year. Cecil was outraged. Turpin then ignored everyone else and said she had business to attend to. She was sure that Noah was hers. Even though she looked like a kind and noble lady, she was a total pickup who enjoyed getting all the men's gazes. She put herself so high that she believed no one was allowed to take their eyes off her, even if they could only see a single strand of her hair. Cecil told Noah that she was signing up for the contest too, and Minerva joined her. Noah was confused as to why they would do that. Everyone started talking about Friederike, Cecil, and Minerva competing to become the idol of this school. Meanwhile, Mia was trying to get as much food as possible from the chef at the dining hall. The chef scolded her, and she escaped after grabbing a bunch of fried fish. Noah felt like he saw her, but then he was distracted by Arthur. He said everyone was so excited about the idol contest and he was having doubts about who to vote for. Noah told him that they didn't have time for this nonsense and reminded him that in just a few days the capital will be in serious danger. Arthur was pretty comfortable because they had the two of them and they would be fine. He had amazing mental fortitude, unlike Noah, because he was so anxious that he just wanted to train more. The day of the contest arrived and they saw Cecil on the stage waving at them. While watching the girls, Noah noticed the bully guys who took his friends' dumbbells and other training equipment. They were waiting for this moment to show them how fearsome the Bad Muscles were. Noah followed them and stopped them to ask if they were up to something no good. The little one behind him told the leader of the group that he was Noah Francis, the guy who fought the former Demon Lord. Noah told him not to mess with the contest because it meant a lot to Cecil. The others wanted to run away since they knew well that they couldn't take him, but the big one said he couldn't run, not until he had made Friederike suffer. Noah knew that he was talking about the pretty girl from that famous family. He said that she turned him down in the most awful way 2 years ago. She told him that his huge frame and unsightly muscles were not beautiful at all and asked him to stay 1 kilometer away from her at all times. Aniki was in such a shock that he couldn't even enjoy his chicken tenders. He even went down a whole 20 kilos in weight. Aniki said he turned to the dark side and started macho hunting, all to get his revenge on Friederike. And now he took his shirt off and there were tons of dumbbells on his body. He said he was going to dye this contest in the colors of macho with the muscles he had once again trained up. That was actually an enticing proposal, but Noah couldn't let him mess this up for Cecil, so he was ready to throw some fists. Backstage, Friederike checked other girls out and concluded that the competition this year would be fierce. However, she firmly believed that nobody was more beautiful than she was. She was wearing almost nothing and was sure everyone would look at her. Then she was blinded by a light. When she looked to see who that was, she saw Noah and Aniki's muscles. The muscle arts of those men were absorbing her. She was confused as to what was going on and why they were shining so brightly. She gasped when she saw everyone looking at Noah instead of her. Wondering the reason, she looked closely and saw Noah flexing his muscles. He was overflowing with confidence. She realized that this was what true beauty was. She recalled her mother telling her to become a beautiful woman worthy of the Turpin name, and if she didn't, she would have no purpose. She realized that she may never have had any real confidence, and somehow this year's winner was Noah Francis, even though he didn't even sign up for this. Everyone was shocked. As they handed him the prize, which was a magic stone, Aniki admitted that he had completely lost, but at least Frederica admitted that she was too harsh on him and that muscles brimming with confidence were very beautiful. Aniki once again confessed his love for her, but she at least told him to stay 50 meters away from her at all times this time. Not 100, so that was a win. When it was over, Noah found Cecil and apologized to her. He said he was trying to stop someone else from ruining it, but ended up ruining it himself. He asked if she was mad. Cecil let out a deep breath as she was thinking about the swimsuit she bought to show Noah. Noah gave the magic stone he won to her and asked her to accept his apology. He then ran away as he was so frustrated. Frederica and Minerva saw Cecil trying to catch Noah and assumed he didn't know that there was a tradition that whoever the victor gives the magic stone to was the one they would marry. Noah was an honest and wonderful person, and that's why it hurt Minerva to keep a secret from him. The secret she was keeping was the fact that her big sister was the former Saintess Olivia, the leader of 12 mages.